Hello, it is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, just like the man said, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Tuesday edition, October 17. My name is Matt Murphy, and I don't yell all the time, just most of the time. But it's during the quiet.
What the hell is wrong with you?
It's during the quiet times that we have contemplative reflection together. We've got a big show for you today. I hope you're able to spend every single moment of it with us, 180 minutes. That's on the docket before we hand off to the drive with Brian Wilson. Tim Burchett is scheduled to be on the show at 12:35 today. He was scheduled to be on yesterday, and the phones were kaput. The phones are back up and running today, and so we have him scheduled at 12:35. However, he might be voting. Voting is just beginning in the halls of Congress in the United States of America for a new Speaker of the House. The expectation is that Jim Jordan will or does have the votes to become the next Speaker of the House. We anticipate that conversation with Congressman Tim Burchett coming up in just moments. Speaking of our congressman, we've got Mark Green scheduled for tomorrow. We have Andy Ogle scheduled for Thursday. I've got Bill Haggerty scheduled for Thursday. I've got Senator Tommy Tuberville scheduled for today. So we've lots to discuss, what with the Israeli-Palestinian/Hamas conflict going on, what with Ukraine and Russia going on, what with everything happening around the world. World's on fire, America's on fire, and Joe Biden's asleep. That's where we are, friends. Let me get to the pleasantries, and then we'll get to the meat and potatoes of the show. It is episode 436 of these proceedings from noon until 3 on Super Talk. You can join us in any variety of ways. You can go the straight radio route at 99.7 FM, 100,000 watts of blowtorch power all across the Southeast. You can find us on internet streaming. Stream us anywhere in the world, wherever you go, either in place at a desktop or mobile on your phone. And you can also watch the show. Super Talk TV up and running. You can see my new pullover. How you like my new pullover?
Looks nice.
Thank you. Watch the television on the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Twitter, and the Twitches. F&M Bank chat line is up and running there, so you can comment on the proceedings as well. It is episode number 436, and that episode is entitled
Matt Murphy, ready for a basketball legend to be Speaker of the House. The Libertarian Lunch, noon to 3. Bring your own bell.
I don't mean to start off on a bad foot, but I think I might need to fact check you on that.
Why?
Jordan's no basketball legend.
He is, too. He's one of the greatest of all time.
Now, if it was like Kareem, now you're talking.
That's my all-time favorite basketball player.
Really? Yeah. Skyhook?
Yes.
Indefensible. If he makes that shot, you can't defend it.
Plus, back when he had the giant afro.
Oh, he had a fro.
He could take you out with that afro.
Just with a flip of his head. So I had a moment during the transition between myself and Chris Hand, not to divert our attention away from the big topics of the day, but we'll get to them, I promise. I had this moment. Have you seen the commercial? It's my favorite commercial going. I don't even know what it's for. But there's a family going through the airport, and the father's going through TSA, and the woman says, "Have a nice trip." And he says, "You too." You know how you do? I just had this moment where, have a nice trip. You too. And everybody stops like, "What? You too? What are you talking about?"
I'm not going anywhere.
And the TSA agent, "Does it look like I'm going on vacation, sir?" And the family's like, "I don't even want to go on vacation anymore." It's like, "What are you talking about?" And the dad's sitting there with his shoes in his hand and his reaction is she has hairspray that's more than 3 ounces. He's like throwing his wife under the bus.
I don't think I've seen this one.
Oh, it's pretty good. And then the end of it, he's sitting on a bench getting his stuff back together, and there's a rando guy sitting there and going, "Oh, you didn't even wear socks. Come on, man."
Nice.
So I just had that moment where you're not quite paying attention to end pleasantries, and
Hand wasn't wearing socks?
No, Hand. Oh. I don't know. I don't look at what he's wearing. Unlike Dan Mandis, I don't really look that closely at the Hand attire. Mandis apparently is. Anyway, so man crush. Anyway, so Hand says, "Have a good show," and I said, "You too." Have a good show. You too.
Well, you're just getting it in early for tomorrow. Because you don't see him before he goes on the air.
I did catch myself, though. I said, wait a minute, you're not having a show. You just had a show. I hope it was a good show. He said he thought it was a good show, so there you go. We hope to have a good show as well. Obviously, we will cover the latest on Israel and Hamas. I will talk to you about the concept of proportionality. I'm in favor of it. I'm in favor of it. Based on the actions of Hamas, I will, and yes, I know that Jim Jordan was a wrestler. Everybody's telling us that, I think Bell's making a joke about Michael Jordan, Jim Jordan. It's sometimes difficult.
Would be correct.
Yeah, it's sometimes difficult because everyone's explaining to you, Bell, that Jim Jordan was a state champion wrestler. Nobody cares about wrestling.
Least of all me.
I mean, no offense to you wrestlers in the listening audience, and I'm sure you could pin me in nanoseconds, but nobody really cares about wrestling.
It's fake.
It is fake. Oh, 7536 says that Brian Regan did a bit on the U2. U2! I think I've probably seen that over time at some point. Kathy wants to know, Matt, does Dan Mandis know you rated his wardrobe? It is gray. Mandis would wear this out of his wardrobe because it is a gray thing.
Shorts.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm all in favor of proportionality, and I'm going to tell you why during the show today. We've gotten to the stage where, look, we've gotten to the stage of the talking points, and we've been here before. I am sad to note that I am old enough now that I've been around this block a time or two. And every time tensions like this, and really this is a 25-year event, right? We've not seen the tensions and the actual warfare going on between Israel and the Palestinians in the way that it's happening now in decades. But invariably, there's discussion about World War III and the inevitability of World War III, which never seems to come around the corner and won't this time around either. There's invariably a discussion about how Israel is much more powerful than Hamas or the Palestinians. And if Israel would just come to the table of peace negotiations and understanding with the Palestinians, all of this could be solved, which is bogus and garbage, and I'll explain it. Israel has been on board with a two-state solution since 1993. And more so in the early 2000s, because there were some concessions that they made regarding the borderline, whether or not it would be pre-1967 or post-1967. One way or the other, this concept of a two-state solution, there's only one group that's against a two-state solution. That's Hamas. And they control Gaza. Even the Palestinian Authority, not that I believe them, but even the Palestinian Authority is on record as saying that they would support a two-state solution. Israel says that they will support a two-state solution. You want to know what Israel is asking for in support of a two-state solution? Stop killing Jews. Stop killing Jews, and we'll give you a state. And John says those people will never get along. It's not those people, John. I don't mean to yell at you, buddy. I appreciate your commentary on the super text line, 615-737-9986. It's the Palestinians. It's the Arabs in that region that hate the Jews so much that no solution that doesn't involve the extermination of the Jewish people is good enough. Arafat got 98% of the land concessions that he was asking for during his negotiations with the Jewish people, and they still turned down a two-state solution. Anyway, so there's that going on. We now have 8 individuals voting. All right, so let me tell you what's happening in Washington, D.C. at the Capitol at this moment. I don't know if they're going to continue with this vote. Are you monitoring are they going to continue the vote? There's already 9 people now that have voted for others other than Jim Jordan or Hakeem Jeffries. That means no one's going to get elected this round. Why are we still voting? It seems stupid to me. Can we jip this for a moment to see what's going on? From C-SPAN, live from the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C., let's join in progress.
Green of Texas.
Oh, we'll get Mark Green in here. Unless
We just
we already
missed
did.
his.
Oh,
Jeffries.
Jeffries.
Green of Georgia. Jordan. Griffith.
okay. There you go. They're still
Jordan.
voting for some reason.
That was exciting.
No member. I know. We should do it for the next hour or so. We can go to lunch. No member has the votes to be elected if the votes stay where they are. 9 individuals have already voted for other people other than Jim Jordan, and that is too many for Jim Jordan to be elected. It's too many for Hakeem Jeffries to be elected. So there you go. We'll have another vote later on. Maybe we'll hear from Tim Burchett at 12:35 as a result of this.
What's the total he can lose? Is it 4?
I think it's 4 or 5,
4 or 5.
depending on how many people are in the body. But it changes based
Well, I
on
think
people
they've
voting
got
present.
everybody. There's a couple of vacant seats right now, right?
Yeah.
But everybody that is available to vote is in the chambers.
So, yeah, I think 1 or 2 seats are vacant, which may change the calculus to 217. Let me do the math. Yeah, I think it changes it to 217 because there's 435, so you would need 218 under normal conditions. There's 2 absent, so that changes it to 217. You need a majority of the total body. If people vote present, that also changes the dynamic. So I don't have anybody voting present so far, so it looks like we'll need another vote to get a new Speaker of the House. The expectation is that Jim Jordan will get the concessions that he needs. My position has not changed from 24 hours ago. Over and over again, over my lifetime following politics, I see where the conservative wing of the Republican Party is asked to make concessions over and over and over again. Well, you can't expect us all to be that conservative. After all, we have members in blue states, and they need to be protected, we're told. There are Republicans out there in California and up there in Pennsylvania and in New Jersey and in New York, and they're in purple districts, and boy, oh boy, we have to protect them, we're told. Well, it's time for the moderates in the conservative movement or in the Republican Party. Those are 2 different things. It's time for the moderates to make some concessions here. It's time for some of these moderates to take a risk to get something done in the Congress. You have presented no moderate alternative. We went the moderate route with Kevin McCarthy. Now it's time to get more of a conservative leader in that seat. Now, he has to abide by the same rules. Obviously, he has to make certain concessions as Speaker of the House in order to get things done. But there are certain things that he is expected to do. One of them, pass appropriations bills independent of an omnibus spending package. Secondarily, continue on regular order. 0229, you're exactly right. Why do conservatives, why are they always the one that have to make the concessions? And by the way, I don't believe any Republican in the halls of Congress is conservative nowadays. Why is everybody applauding Hakeem Jeffries? I don't know. Makes no sense. I must have missed something. If there's one thing that the Congress of the United States of America loves as much as spending your money, it's applauding themselves. And as I've said many times, while Washington, D.C. is a fascinating place, every time I'm there, I want to throw up because they're so good at both. They're so good at patting themselves on the back and talking about how awesome and wonderful they are and building monuments to themselves while spending your money. Makes me want to puke. So that's going on now. We'll continue to follow that for you if you have any thoughts on the Speaker of the House race and the fact that, sadly, it's always the conservative wing of the Republican Party that is expected to give concessions. Well, this time around, you're expecting the moderates to concede to a certain degree. Let's see if they do, or if they want to be the ones to quag the government for the next several days. We will get into the Israeli-Hamas situation. I'll tell you why I'm in favor of proportionality. I am. We'll also talk to Tim Burchett, hopefully, coming up in the next few minutes. Tommy Tuberville, United States Senator, will be up at 2:05 to talk about his stand against this mass appointment within the United States military and what he has to say about the Israeli-Palestinian situation going on. All that's to come, plus your telephone calls. We've got open phones today, 615-737-9986. It's 1219 on Super Talk. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for PhD Weight Loss. Dr. Ashley Lucas developed PhD Weight Loss years ago, and this nutrition system works. I've been on weight loss plans. I've been on diet plans, and this one is as easy as any I've ever done in my life. It is simple. It is structured. It gives me peace of mind to know what I'm eating this afternoon, what I'm eating this evening. You don't starve to death. You eat 5 times a day. I eat 5 times a day. I'm never hungry, and I'm losing the weight, 36-plus pounds and counting. Plus, they understand that life happens. That's why when you talk to your consultant, your nutritionist on a weekly basis, you feel like you can be honest with them about how the week went, and they're going to be there at your side, not to judge you, but to support you in your weight loss journey. And we all need that. We need that level of support and not a level of guilt with, frankly, it's what happens with certain other weight loss plans. So Ashley Lucas wants to talk with you. Her team wants to talk with you. Most men lose between 3 and 5 pounds a week, women between 2 and 3 pounds a week. And if you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of your program, they continue to coach you for free until you do. Can't ask for more than that. Do it today. Go to myphdweightloss.com. That's myphdweightloss.com for PhD weight loss. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I suppose it's perfunctory. at this stage, but I suppose I understand why you have to go through the actions of calling every name and getting every vote on the record for the first round of votes for Speaker of the House. But no one will be Speaker of the House after the first round, as 13 individuals have already voted for others, including a vote for Kevin McCarthy that elicited apparently we were talking about Brian Kilmeade during the crossover. Apparently Brian Kilmeade's mic was open when early on in the voting, somebody voted, I think it was Bacon. I don't know who that was or who that is, Republican, but apparently this person voted for Kevin McCarthy early on in the proceedings. And Brian Kilmeade immediately on an open mic on Fox News called him a dumbass. Which amuses me.
He's made a career out of open mic errors.
Yeah. So right now, Jim Jordan's in the lead, but he's not going to get the 200 and whatever it takes to become the next speaker, and we'll continue monitoring that situation. 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN if you want to jump in on the phone lines or jump in on the super text line. Either way, it's of your choosing. We're hoping to talk to Tim Burchett coming up in a couple of minutes. Oh, thank you very much. Look at there. Hey, look, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, my main man, my wingman, my executive producer, Belkay, brought me my soda. And I didn't even ask for it. And he brought me my soda.
Well, I had to grab that copy for you, and it was sitting there.
Thanks, Bel. Appreciate that. Tim is in Linville next. First up, actually, on the Murphy Show on Super Talk. Hey, Tim, how are you?
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I think the guy with the open mic probably sums up what I think about the way they're doing today. What a complete mess. We have effectively, at the end of about to score a touchdown, the Republicans have ousted McCarthy, and now they're about to hand this back over to the Democrats, in which all these investigations, which is not important with Israel and that stuff, but all these investigations that have come to a stop now, they're going to end when they hand it back to the Democrats. It's infuriating what they're doing up there.
Describe to me, and I can hear the frustration in your voice there, Tim. Describe to me how this ends with control back in the hands of the Democrats.
Well, they're already voting for the Jeffries fellow. I mean, I don't know a lot about him. Not a big fan, but how can you overlook Jordan, which is an obvious choice? I would have liked to have had him before McCarthy, but he didn't want it because he wanted to be over the judicial. And now we're trying to not put him in, and eventually they're going to say, well, let's just give it back to the Democrats. And, you're going to give them everything.
Well, let me help calm you. Let me help calm your fears. So
sure.
Just to walk through it. So McCarthy became Speaker after 15 rounds of voting. He made a number of concessions to some of the holdouts, and he did not abide by some of those concessions, which is how we got where we are. There are a lot of McCarthy supporters still on Capitol Hill that continue to smart. All of these are Republicans that are smarting over his ouster. And so some of them are showing out right now. They will not become Hakeem Jeffries voters.
I hope not.
No.
But, they
will not.
They've just stopped everything.
So what they are doing, they're either holding out for specific, I don't know, one way or the other, and I've got some feelers out to people who are there on Capitol Hill to tell me what the holdouts want. They either want to make a spectacle of themselves for a few minutes to express their displeasure in the ouster of Kevin McCarthy before voting for Jim Jordan, or they are steadfast in their refusal to vote for Jim Jordan unless some concessions are made to them, and I'm trying to figure out what those are. But this is not going to equate. I mean, if this becomes – if this ends up with Hakeem Jeffries being the Speaker of this session of Congress, Tim, I'll stop talking about D.C. politics because there's no point in it anymore. I mean, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
But I do not believe that's what's going to happen.
I hope you're exactly right. It's just they've made the whole process look so stupid that they can't govern. And at the worst, even if we end up with Jim Jordan, which I'm hopeful that we do, what are they going to give for food for the next election? Well, look, you don't need to vote for Republicans. They can't even govern. Look at what they did. It's just ridiculous.
Well, Jim Jordan and the Republicans will have a good 12 or 13 months to prove themselves to the American people prior to the next election for House of Representatives and the next Congress. So there's plenty of time between now and then to demonstrate that yours is the right way. Plus, I would suggest that what's going on in the White House is much more present in the minds of people than what's going on in the Congress. And
absolutely,
the White House is an absolute disaster. So I think that bodes well for the bodes well for the presidential election. Anyway,
the world's on fire, and we're playing around with the Speaker of the House.
Well, no, you're right, and it is frustrating, and I hear your frustration, and I share it. But I think if we are patient today and maybe into tomorrow, we'll eventually see a Speaker Jordan. And thank you, Tim, for the call. And that's ultimately a good thing. He is a more conservative guy from a red state, or a redder state at very least. Not as red as Tennessee, but certainly more red than California. And if he abides by the regular rules of order, I think we'll be all good. Oversight investigations will continue. Joe Biden investigations will continue. Investigations into other aspects of corruption in Washington, D.C. and on Capitol Hill will continue.
Does he lose his chairmanships?
No, yes, the Speaker cannot be chairman of a committee. So there'll be a new Judy chair, I guess. 3455 wants to know my opinion on a possible draft. Why would I offer my opinion on a possible draft? Oh, I guess our man Chris Hand was talking about a draft earlier. I have a different opinion on the draft than Chris. I believe there is I believe there is more chance that the Tennessee Titans win the Super Bowl this year than we ever have a compulsory draft in the United States of America again. I believe there's more chance that Nick Saban coaches the Tennessee Volunteers next year than there is that we will ever have a draft in the United States of America again.
Okay, you're making all these football analogies, and somebody out there is going, wait a minute, why would the NFL not have a draft?
Wait a minute. You're telling me that there's a chance we get Nick Saban? I'll sign up for the military if we can get Nick Saban to coach the Tennessee Volunteers. We have been there. We've done that. There was this kind of conversation post to 9/11 too, and we never came anywhere close to it. I mean, you can point to a war hawk or two that might make the suggestion, but the United States of America is the only way, and I say 0.00 chance, I will make one concession. The only way that I can foresee that the United States of America would ever go back to a military draft again is if we are attacked on American soil in a concerted effort to overtake land in the United States of America. In other words, it would have to be an attack that was greater and more broad-scoped than 9/11. I don't know, like an invasion across our southern border.
That would never happen.
But that would never happen. 1233 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy, Safe House wants to talk with you. Nashville Safe House wants to see you. I want you to see Nashville Safe House. I want you to see the incredible selection of safes that they have. And it's not just gun safes. We talk about gun safes a lot. I mean, after all, we live in the state of Tennessee, and a lot of you have guns, and a lot of you understand the necessity to keep those guns nice and tidy and locked up. But it's more than just that. They have corporate safes. They have corporate vault doors, which are pretty incredible. You know, these vault doors, oh, man, they're just impressive. But they also have jewelry safes, smaller models, biometric safes to keep your handgun safe and secure while near you and at the ready in case of a home invasion or whatnot, God forbid. I mean, they have it all at Nashville Safe House. Why not go and see some of the incredible selection that they do have? And as Mark will tell you, think big when you're at Nashville Safe House. It doesn't cost you much more to go a little bigger than you think you need, and I promise you, eventually you're going to use that, because this is not only to prevent theft, it is to prevent damage through fire. And ask about some of the fire ratings of some of the incredible safes like Browning that they have at Nashville Safe House. Go by and see them on 4th Avenue South in Nashville across from City Cemetery, or go online at NashvilleSafehouse.com, NashvilleSafehouse.com. So sorry, I was texting with Tim Burchett's people. It is 12:38, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Sean, Andrew, Jerry, we'll get to you in just a moment as we continue the proceedings here. We're monitoring activities on Capitol Hill in the United States House of Representatives as they attempt to get a new Speaker of the House. We're also monitoring activities over in Israel and points beyond in the Middle East. I was, Bell, I'm not making friends, I'm making enemies. So I was talking to Tim Burchett's Representative Rachel, and we were trying to figure out when he would be able to be on. And, you know, I was telling her the window of opportunity, and she was saying, well, you know what? Looks like because they started the roll call vote, we won't be out by 1:35. That would be 12:35 our time 3 minutes ago. And I said, can he call now? He's already voted, right? And she said, unfortunately not. I'm sorry. I'll let you know what his availability looks like once this vote is done. Depends on when round 2 is. And I said, well, what the heck's he doing?
He's right. I see him. He's right there. He can call from the floor.
He's just sitting there.
Is that against the rules to use your cell phone on the floor?
I don't know. I mean, he's just sitting there. Now, look, that guy's on his phone. I'm looking at some schmuck on his phone right now. They're almost done with the vote anyway. Hakeem Jeffries is dangerously close to getting enough votes to be the next speaker. Have you seen that? Did some Republican vote for Jeffries?
I don't know. I don't know that for certain, but I got the impression that someone had. Wasn't there a representative in Alabama that was threatening to caucus with him?
Yeah, Mike Rogers was, and he got set straight yesterday morning, and he said that he would be voting for Jim Jordan for speaker. Whether he did or not, I don't know. I'm not looking at every single vote. I am looking at your telephone calls. Let's talk to Sean in Ashland City with a thought on the speaker's race. Hello, Sean. Good afternoon.
Hey, Chris. Good to hear you. I've been listening to you guys for a while. I really appreciate your commentary on everything and how you go straightforward with everything.
Thank you, Shane. I appreciate that.
It's Mark.
Yeah, this whole speakership thing is really stupid. They should just vote Jordan in and be done with it and get over. But we have a bunch of limp liberals and limp idiots that run our government. So I don't have much confidence that they're going to get anything done. You just look at how they've been fluffing things off like the last year and just letting Joe Biden just skate on everything. I mean, we should have had Joe Biden clinch down on an impeachment just on his use of the southern border and all of his garbage he's been doing since he started being president. It's just disgraceful. But one of the main things I want to talk about was President Biden going over there to Israel to lobby for the UN about bringing sanctions to Gaza and stuff like that. I hope Biden does not screw stuff up any more than it is. Because I just want to give over a flip side. What would happen if ISIS decided they wanted to run a couple of airplanes into our buildings in New York City? Do you think if we went over there to kick their butt and take some names that the UN would be in there saying, oh, no, we got to bring you in here to help these people out because they're hiding behind their citizens? Or do you think they would, U.S. would say, get out of our way and get out of our business?
Well, here's what I would concede as we talk a little about the Israeli situation. I'll concede that the Israelis should back off and be careful not to kill civilians when those same civilians point the finger at where Hamas is hiding in Gaza and point the finger as to where the hostages are in Gaza. Now, you can easily say, well, they don't know. Well, let's help us find out. I don't hear a lot of anti-Hamas speeches coming out of anyone purporting to be pro-Palestinian. And that's the difference. I want to hear some anti-Hamas conversation from individuals who purport to be pro-Palestinian before I believe that pro-Palestinian doesn't mean pro-Hamas.
Well, here's the thing is they drop pamphlets. They say, we're going to bomb this area. Well, how about you civilians get your asses out of there and be on the other side of the damn Gaza Strip so you don't get bombed? But yet these people stay there and they stay inside their buildings and then they get bombed and then we get blamed, or Israel gets blamed for this stuff. These people need to realize that they're going after Hamas and they're going after strongholds. And if they get a warning that they're about to hit this place and these people say, well, the Hamas isn't here, they're over there. Doesn't matter whether or not they say Hamas is here or not over there. They're still going to bomb that. Get your butts out and get away from the fighting. But these people stay in place. So Hamas is the one that's keeping these people in place, and then they're using them as scapegoats for the damage that's being done. If you're living in a war area and you know they're bombing the south part of it, well, get your butt in the north side so you're not getting killed.
Well, or vice versa. But I don't pretend, and thank you, Shane, for the call. I know his name is Sean, not Shane, but he called me Chris, so I called him Shane. And
okay, Mark.
And look, I'm getting called. Why am I getting called by my father-in-law? Does my father-in-law not know I'm on the radio right now? Okay, so my apologies for that. Yeah, and yes, I have the theme to Curb Your Enthusiasm as my ringtone because I feel like Larry David more often than not. A lot to unpack from that call. One, you have over 2 million people compressed in a very small space. I'm not calling you, Sean, delusional, but I'm not delusional enough to believe that you can just simply move those people like that. Israel does their dead level best. Hamas uses the population density to their own advantage. They use human beings as human shields. There is one group of people that does not care whatsoever how many Palestinians die, and that's Hamas. Because they believe with every Palestinian death, their propaganda machine grows stronger. And their support around the world grows larger. Israel understands that the more civilians that unfortunately fall under the category of collateral damage, the more civilians that they kill accidentally, the more difficult their task becomes. Does that make sense to everyone? Israel is the only player in all of this concerned with killing Palestinians. Hamas has a stated goal. The elected leadership of Gaza, by the way, has the stated goal as their existential purpose to kill the Jews. That's the mission statement that won them the election in 2006. The Palestinian Authority was not extreme enough because the Palestinian Authority agreed with a two-state solution. Let's go over this again. There was a two-state solution proposal during the administration of Bill Clinton in 1993 that Yasser Arafat turned down that gave him almost every single thing that he wanted. And the one thing that the Israelis wanted that the Palestinians wouldn't give them is to have the Palestinians militarily disarm so they would not continuously bomb Israel. And the Palestinians wouldn't do it. Flash forward to 2005. And Israel finally withdrew from a military perspective from West Bank and Gaza. And West Bank and Gaza had elections, and the Palestinian Authority won in West Bank and lost in Gaza. Why did they lose in Gaza? Because the Palestinians had agreed to a two-state solution. And Hamas said, no, we want a one-state solution. And the one-state solution is Palestine, and we want to eliminate the Jews and eliminate the state of Israel. And that's how they won elections. They have since been unable to have elections, and all of these media talking heads want to suggest that the Palestinians have somehow magically over the last 16 years changed their ways, and they would vote differently now. I suggest to you that while they are not voting monolithically, that they do not vote in mass or in block, the majority of the Palestinians support Hamas. And if they don't, why are they not looking at the Israeli army as a liberation army? To give them the ability to govern themselves in a manner of their choosing. The liberal talking points on this subject revolve around the Palestinians being subjected to undue extreme circumstances based on the presence of Israel and based on the lack of governance of Hamas. And the suggestion is always made that the Palestinians don't agree with the Hamas people. The Palestinians don't agree with the killing of babies and the killing of grandmas and the taking of hostages. Then why did they elect them in 2007? Oh, well, that's changed since then. Really? Then find me the spokesperson for the Palestinian people that's willing to speak against Hamas. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'm still waiting. I just want to talk to the pro-Palestinian groups that are anti-Hamas. I'd love to have a conversation with them. Let me know when you find them. Oh, I hear a lot of discussion about how Hamas is not the Palestinians and the Palestinians are not Hamas. Well, then let's have an election. Let's get them out of power. Let's disarm them. And let's get back to the table of negotiation if that's our goal. Well, we know that's not so. All right, so we've completed voting. I'm shifting between these two major subjects today. We've completed voting. Jim Jordan received 200 votes. Hakeem Jeffries, that is, received 212 votes. Others received 20 votes, and that amounts to 432, pardon me. Yeah, and that's about right, I suppose. I thought there was only 2. Maybe there are 3 seats open at this stage. 7889. Matt, Channel 4 just told a story about a man in Illinois who killed a Palestinian boy and was reported to have been listening to talk radio. Yes, I've heard this story, and it is a tragedy, and it is awful. I know of no talk radio host that is suggesting that any level of violence is acceptable here in the United States of America or beyond, outside of the war zone. Obviously, those that are committed to killing you, you have the right to self-defense, and you have the right to aggressive and proactive self-defense, especially if you're in that region of the world. We have none of those excuses here in the United States of America. We have a military. We have police forces around this country. Obviously, this individual was off of his nut, and he needs to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And any evil this heinous must be condemned, and I condemn it without reservation, without hesitation. And I say nothing on these airwaves that would suggest that any level of violence along these lines is ever acceptable. This person killed a young boy. He is obviously either soulless or mentally disturbed. The same thing that I could say for Hamas. Don't become that which we fight against. So I condemn it without hesitation, without reservation. And I condemn the talking point that talk radio is in any way responsible for this. No. You're not going to single out those moments in time and suggest that you destroy an entire industry based on the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, based on some ham-handed extrapolation that this plus this plus this plus this plus this equals that. Therefore, you must go back to the beginning and destroy the origination. No, that's not how it works. Me telling you that you can't shout fire in a crowded theater if it's not on fire, without there being consequences, is not, in effect, shouting fire in a crowded theater. So I reject the cause and effect suggested in the email or in the text. 615-737-9986. Jerry and Andrew, I'll get to both of you, not necessarily in that order, next. Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy, and allow me a moment to talk to you about Tennessee Men's Clinic. You know, get away from politics for a moment, talk about your life and your health. Gentlemen, if you're not feeling up to snuff and you don't know what it is, I encourage you to schedule a visit with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. I know when you hear about these ads or when you hear these ads, a lot of time the conversation surrounds bedroom activities. And that's a factor. And that is a point of emphasis for Tennessee Men's Clinic, and they don't shy away from that. But I want to talk to you about more than just that. I want to talk to you about your overall energy level. If you're feeling run down, sluggish, or slow, if you feel like you don't have the energy that you used to, and maybe you're like me, you're 50 years old, and you think, boy, oh boy, I wish I could get back to where I was when I was 40 or 35. Did you know, with a few adjustments to your T levels, with some examination as to where you are in terms of levels within your body, you can get back to that energy, that vitality, that verve again? You can through the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Why not check it out at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com? That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Or better yet, give them a call and schedule an appointment. 2 locations to serve you. One is in Midtown Nashville, the other in Cool Springs. 615-208-9090. 615-208-9090 for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Super Talk. I was just very loud. I don't know. Help me out there. Reset to the beginning of the broadcast. Thank you. Super Talk 99. It might have been me. I don't know. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the Matt Murphy Show in progress. Pardon me as we get ourselves back together here. It's 12:59, almost a minute to go before the top of the hour news. For what it's worth, the fake news is coming up, and then we'll be back. Andrew and Jerry, I don't have time to get to you, but I'm getting to you next segment. I promise you of that. So hang in there because I don't want to give you a short shift. And, I don't want to put you on air and say, you got 30 seconds, go. That would be unfair. I don't want to be unfair. I want to be fair. In the meantime, there's a new vote being taken on the floor of the House of Representatives as the first vote resulted in no speaker. We'll keep you up to date with that. We'll shift gears and talk to you about an event that I want you to be a part of coming up in just a moment. It's 2 more hours to go with the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hang in there.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A House vote for Speaker failing to usher in a new leader in the first round of voting. Republican nominee Jim Jordan coming up short. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has the latest.
He earned the support of former Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the two men who challenged him for the GOP nomination, both Steve Scalise and Austin Scott. But on this first ballot, Jim Jordan has lost 20 Republican votes for Speaker. Republicans are huddling on the floor after this initial vote, unsure of what to do next. Jordan has signaled he intends to keep the voting going until he can win over the holdouts.
The House remains paralyzed on legislation, including aid for Israel. The Mideast bracing for Israel's next phase in Gaza after Hamas terrorists killed at least 1,400 in Israel. Hamas also holding nearly 200 hostages, including Americans in Gaza. And it's a dire situation. More than 3,000 have died in Israeli airstrikes, and civilians are trapped in the enclave. President Biden will be in Israel tomorrow, a show of support for Israel, but he'll also meet with Arab leaders, calling for humanitarian aid to get into Gaza. The U.S. also taking steps to avoid the conflict from widening. Here's ABC's Martha Raddatz.
2,000 U.S. troops now on alert for possible deployment to the Middle East to provide intelligence and medical support if needed. And a second U.S. aircraft carrier and its warships now set to join a carrier strike group already in the Mediterranean.
Police have killed a suspected terrorist in Brussels.
Hours after a manhunt began, police in Brussels tracked down and shot dead a suspected gunman, a Tunisian, a weapon also recovered. Belgian Prime Minister Alexander De Croo.
2 Swedish compatriots passed away. A third person is recovering right now from severe injuries.
His thoughts are with the victims' families, and he sent his condolences to the Swedish Prime Minister. Security has now been beefed up in the capital, particularly around places linked to the Swedish community.
ABC's Tom Rivers, you're listening to ABC News.
Here we go. Hour number 2 of the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt and you for the next 2 hours. We'll hand off to Brian Wilson and drive at that time. Thank you for being wherever you are, whether you're listening on radio, maybe you're streaming on an internet platform, or perhaps you're watching us on Super Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We thank you. It's episode 436 of the proceedings here. By the way, you can comment if you're watching on the YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. If you're watching, you're probably... Are they watching Tracy disrobe right now? No, you don't have the camera on yet? Okay, good.
Okay, that's good.
No, I mean, she's not really disrobing. She just took off her sweatshirt. Evident Bank chat line up and running on those platforms, and you can join in on the conversation that way as well. We'll introduce our in-studio guest in a moment. We're going to move away from Hamas and Israel, unless these two ladies want to comment on it, and get into some more local issues that I think are of very much importance to you and your family, especially if you live in Davidson County. So, and then there's Representative Burchett. This is insane. Find out. Okay, y'all can stick around for a minute, right? Y'all are good?
Yeah,
You're good. Okay, they're good. So, yeah, we can take Burchett real quick. I have to tell Jerry and Andrew, I promised I'd get to you, but I got Burchett on the line, and we want to figure out what these 20 holdouts exactly want. The Speaker of the House vote is ongoing. The first vote just concluded. Let's find out where we are as we're joined by Congressman Tim Burchett on the Murphy Show this afternoon on the Murphy Show hotline. Tim, thank you so much for calling in and giving us an update as to what's going on. The first vote did not come to a successful conclusion, i.e. a successful election of Jim Jordan as Speaker. We had 20 holdouts. Tell us what you know about why these 20 held out and where we are moving forward.
Well, they're divided. It's you got a bunch of. Hang on, I'm doing radio, dude. Let me do this real quick. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
I love that. That's good. No, I love that.
I got a few fans out here.
Just hand them the phone the next time one walks up to you. We'll talk to them.
Yeah, no, dude, you don't know. Anyway, you got 20. And remember, that's the number that McCarthy had when his first round. And, there's some vote for Thomas Massey, some for Scalise, and a few for Kevin McCarthy, of course. And that's where we're at. We could, and some of them just wild carded us and we didn't even suspect or have any inclination of that. But I still think it's doable. I think Jim just needs to get with each of them individually. Old school bunch that have been here a long, long time, and they don't like the apple cart upset. They like being the chairman of their committee and raking in the contributions, and it just status quo. But that's where we get $33 trillion in debt. We can't. We can't sustain that, and that just cannot keep going. And that's what these Chamber of Commerce crowds want, and people like that. They just want the status quo. And you remember the National Chamber of Commerce endorsed a bunch of Pelosi's lieutenants, and that was why some of us think that we didn't take the majority at that point, because they got out and endorsed 12 or 13 of these folks, and now they're working the halls against Jordan. So we've got an uphill battle, but I think ultimately the grassroots is very motivated right now.
How many of the 20 do you need? 16, 17?
Yeah. We could. I think right now their numbers are 4. We've got one out with let's see, his mother-in-law passed away. I think he's the only one I know that's out on our side. So
what is the schedule for the rest of the day?
We don't know yet. I suspect we'll have a conference meeting and talk. And nothing really. I'm not a big fan of those because nothing gets decided. Everybody gets on the mic and gets their 2 minutes to rail on us, primarily the conservatives in the room. And I've been here 5 years, haven't heard a lot out of one of those meetings. It's a good place for people to vent and say where they're upset, but I would just.
It's really the one-on-one where.
That's what needs to happen.
Votes get moved, right?
Yep, that's what I think, and I think that we're, Hey guys, hang on 1 second. Doing a big interview here on the radio live. but I think that
loose definition of big, Tim. Loose definition of the word big, but I'll give you that.
Yeah, we need one-on-one, and I suspect if I know Jim Jordan, that's what and I do know. I talked to him a pretty good while this morning. We had a nice conversation about where it needed to go, and he knew at the time. He said it'll go at least 2 votes. We know.
So I am told through some of my sources in the halls of Congress, and they aren't very good. You're probably one of my better ones. That some of the no votes in this first round, it was almost a statement vote. They were voting for Scalise or McCarthy because they were upset about the whole way that all of the rest of it happened, and that they'll flip. Sure. If you had to guess how many of those were kind of statement votes that will flip in the next voting round, how many would there be? If you had to guess.
I would think the vast majority of those were because they need, like Scalise, he needs to call on each one of those individuals and say, look, I appreciate you. You're a great friend. You don't need to do this. You need to vote for Jim Jordan. I would hope that's what they would do. I know people are still aching and they're upset. And honestly, Steve Scalise got done a raw deal on this thing. He was he could have been the speaker, but anyway, he was done in by some people in our own party, obviously, but some people that I guess he thought were close to him and they weren't. But regardless, I think Jim Jordan is by and far the best person to lead the House. Now, whether that happens or not, that remains to be seen.
Well, but, if it doesn't happen, where are we? I can't
go back to status quo. We're going to end up with a status quo candidate if we're not careful, and it's going to be more of the same. We'll see. It won't be $33 trillion. It'll be 34, 35, 36, and just keep going down that path.
How did Kevin McCarthy vote today?
Jim Jordan. He voted for Jordan.
So is McCarthy, to your knowledge, I wouldn't expect him to do this, but could he not move these votes for him in a different direction?
I would think so. I would think that's what he'd do.
You know what I did? You know what I just did? I just bumped a bump. Would you call him back? This is awful. I just hit a bump. I just hit a thing. I hit a button that I've never hit before on the phone. I hit the next button. I wonder if he's calling us back. I wonder if that would I wonder if the next button actually took me to the next congressman down the line. Congressman, for the first time in our relationship, I hung up on you. I'm sorry. It was an accident, I promise.
Notice how he backtracked on the word accident.
No, let me correct you. That's the first time you admitted.
Well, that's a fair point. So you were saying that you feel like McCarthy, in an effort to move this forward, would be willing, or who knows, but one would think that he could talk to those that voted in favor of him, much like Scalise, and help move this process along.
I would hope the others would do the same. I'd hope the others. I think Ken Buck, if we could just get him to vote present, it'd be okay. But he's leaving Congress.
What's his deal? He's leaving? He doesn't care?
He's a prosecutor, former prosecutor. He's mad at Jordan for his stand on the election and wants him to make a public statement about it. And I just don't see that happening. You start going down that road, and man, it's like everybody wants a committee chairmanship, and everybody wants a new office, and
everybody wants something.
And apparently they do.
What are you getting for your vote, Burchett? What are you getting?
Good government.
Amen. I hope so.
Fiscal conservatism.
Man, I
don't.
I hope
we could get that. All the rest, I'll fight the rest. But we could get somebody that would just address our fiscal concerns. We just, the White House is saying we can afford 2 wars. Who the heck says something stupid like that?
That's dumb. So, for a fiscal hawk like me, I said this earlier today, and I want you to tell me if this is something that if it's a concept that you agree with or not. if and when Jim Jordan becomes the next Speaker of the House, fiscal conservatives are going to have to give the guy a little bit of grace for the first couple of months because the situation, the timing of the situation is just absolutely foobar, pardon the expression, but it is. And so I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of months. I don't know if we can possibly get appropriations done before the 45-day window runs out. I don't know, but I feel like even with Jim Jordan in place as Speaker, and I have much more faith in Jordan than I did in McCarthy, we have to give a little time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not going to argue with that, but it's just what product are we going to put out? Are we going to go down the same road? What's the plan? And that's what I'd like to see. And we got time for that. I mean, we were going to pass the other one with, a week's time to go over it kind of thing when they rushed us back here or 2 weeks, in 2 weeks. Remember they brought us back middle of September, and September 30th was the end of the fiscal year. So we got plenty of time. In Washington time, this is a lifetime.
Well, Congressman, I appreciate you being so forthcoming with your commentary on the radio show. I appreciate you lying to people in Washington, D.C. about this being a big radio show like you just did. Thank you for that. The check's in the mail. And in all seriousness, keep me up to date as to what's going on as best you can. I mean, I know I'm not a top priority, but let us know when the expected second vote is happening, and we'll keep up to date from this end.
I can assure you the people of Tennessee are my top priority, and I'm sorry I couldn't come off the floor. I didn't think that would have been in good taste, and I was wanting to watch the vote anyway, so I appreciate you allowing me to come back on just a few minutes late.
Hey, man, call us anytime. We'll make way for you, okay?
Brother, thank you.
Thank you. Take care. There's Congressman Tim Burchett joining us. I hit the right button this time. I was hoping I've never hit the next button. I was hoping by hitting the next button, I would just go to the next congressman because I think that would have been Buck.
It doesn't work that way.
I think that would have been Buck out of Colorado. And I got a few things to say to that fella because he voted against McCarthy.
Not a Burchett fan anymore.
Why not?
You seen his Twitter lately? Bragging, showing all his peanut butter and jelly sandwiches he's getting from them lobbyists.
Oh, I did see that, actually. You know what? That's good stuff. If you take away the jelly and put butter on there, I'm a big fan.
You are gross.
Have you never had a peanut butter and butter sandwich?
Go away.
Until you have had a peanut butter and butter sandwich, you've never lived. Peanut butter on one side, butter on the other. Oh, my goodness gracious. What do you mean, no, sir? Yes, ma'am. I don't make matters of taste matters of fact, though, so I'm not going to do that too. Okay, you guys hold on.
We're hanging.
Because I have Tracy and Gloria in the house from Defend Systems. Things are left undefended right now as you wait
It's not safe out there.
for our conversation.
Watch out now.
Jerry wanted to talk out of Ridgetop about the draft. Jerry, thank you for your call. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm just fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, Jerry. What's on your mind?
Well, my name's Gary, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
I'm
no
sorry.
problem.
I'm not sorry that your name's Gary. I'm sorry that I got it wrong.
That's okay. We got worse problems in this world. Anyway, reference the draft and all that. I'll go back to when I was in the Marines in '73. We were part of Operation Nickel Grass Nickel. Can't remember exactly. That's when I got injured. In fact, the Air Force lost the C-141. We had Marines in the Gaza. We had up in the hills. This stuff's been declassified, and I'm just going to come out and say it. We had two carrier groups, the Russians involved. We were supporting the Israelis, Russians, the Egyptians, and all that. So, lots happened since then. You're just seeing right now, and, of course, that was the period when we had a draft, because I went in the Marines in '71. They had a lottery, so I just went in the Marines. You fast forward to now, we've had a lot of interaction with the Islamic world, and I can tell you personally, I've trained plenty of them. I don't know why we're talking about a draft right now, and I don't know even why we're even talking about a World War III, and then you got yelling coming out, yeah, we can afford two wars. We can't afford anything. But we don't put two carrier groups in the Mediterranean all of a sudden unless we're expecting a larger fight. And the 2,000 soldiers that are going into Israel in the area or whatever, I read just this morning, they're military police. You use military police to take prisoners. That's what military police do. Okay? Prisoners.
So Jerry, my position is this, just to kind of put a capper on this, because sadly I'm limited in time. But and thank you, God bless you for your service from 71 to 73. We appreciate that. But I am of the position that the only thing that could happen in world events that would necessitate or make a military draft in the United States of America, compulsory service in the military in the United States, a reality, is a sustained attack on American soil.
Expect it.
By whom?
This global jihad is been orchestrated for years.
Oh, maybe so.
It's
I mean,
1443 in our calendar. The Iranians, the Chinese, the Russians, it's all unraveling.
Well,
I still believe that Obama's in charge, but it's all unraveling, and we're about ready to get hit with all of the terrorists that are in this country. It's amazing to me that Israel's told restraint when we got hit the Twin Towers. We want full bore. Of course, I didn't see Muslims in our supporting us.
No, you didn't. And Jerry, I'll say this. I'm going to give you my take on proportionality here in a minute, and you're going to love it. I promise you that. But I would say that I would love, Jerry, I would love, and thank you for the call, I would love to push back on you with this idea of Islamic jihad descending on the United States of America and attacking us on American soil. Sadly, over the last 2.5 years, we've had everybody and their brother coming across our southern border. We have no idea who's here. So I have no idea what sleeper cells exist. I can't push back on the concept because I think you're probably more right than you're wrong. 122, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Quick timeout, and I have two lovely guests. Tell Andrew I'll get to him if he can hold, but I know he's been holding some time. But we have our lovely guests. And I don't say that flippantly. I mean, if you were in here, Belle, I would not call you a lovely guest. But I got Tracy and Gloria in the house.
Fight my shiny metal ass.
You need a new soundbite. You know that, Bender? It's 122 on Super Talk. Hey, when I listen to podcasts in my downtime, when I'm not listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN, I listen to Steve Abramowitz and the Mill Creek View podcast. He is all over the Franklin election like the morning dew, man. He is covering that thing like nobody's business. He covers a lot of Franklin activities. He covers a lot of things across the state of Tennessee. He's a conservative broadcast, an advocacy podcast, and I encourage you to listen. It's not just politics, although they are frequently number one in politics on Podomatic, Deezer, iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, all of your favorite podcast apps. Carries Mill Creek View. Plus, you can watch them on Rumble. But they do more than just politics. They do arts and authors and culture and entertainment, sports, a lot of different aspects of what they do. Steve is also CEO and editor-in-chief of the Mill Creek View newspaper. I go there on a daily basis, mcview.us. That's mcview.us. You can link to the podcast right there on that page. Steve Abramowitz and the Mill Creek View podcast. Give him a listen. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. We'll shift our attention away from the House of Representatives. Right now, Jim Jordan's in the well. He's speaking on the floor of the House. I've got my take on Israel and the Palestinian/Hamas proportionality. More on that coming up in a moment, plus Senator Tommy Tuberville in the 2 o'clock hour. Right now, we are welcoming into the studio our good friends from Defense Systems, Tracy and Gloria. I'm just going to use your first name because I remember your last name, Mendenhall. I do. I don't know Gloria's, though. So I think we should be on a first-name basis at this stage of the proceeding.
I agree.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How are you, ladies?
Last name, then.
Great. How are you?
Let me guess. Gloria
Estefan.
Estefan.
No, that's not
Close,
it.
so close.
It's really close.
We should try all the Gloria names that we know. Okay, I'm done.
Good. I'm glad you didn't think more like Tennessee.
Politics? No, I'm not going there. I thought about that one, but I would not.
Thank you.
I don't know you well enough. I give you that insult, you come across this counter at me, right?
Yep.
So I'm not going there. Ladies, how's it going?
Great.
Yeah?
Busy.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good and bad. I've long said to bring, for those that don't know, Tracy and Gloria are the gears that make the machine work over at Defense Systems.
Yeah, tell the boss that.
Brink is just he's the tip of the spear. He's the
Pretty face for the marketing.
That's exactly right.
Are you looking in here right now?
So
that's why it's called facetiousness.
You're busy. That's a good thing.
Yes.
Because people are taking my advice and recognizing that. And I like to say this, and I want to get your take on this because I know we need to talk specifically about an event that's going on, but I like to say that the chances of you experiencing violence in your workplace or in church or in school are minuscule. Mm-hmm. And I don't want people to freak out. I don't want people to every day be freaking out. Mm-hmm. But they're not zero.
Exactly.
And because they're not zero, Defense Systems exists.
That's right.
Right?
We want you to be prepared, not paranoid.
Right? That's the simple fact of the matter. What are you doing, Gloria, with the team? What's your main objective? Do you present? Do you lead classes? What do you do?
So I'm one of the lead trainers now. They've cut me loose just last week. I did my first 2 trainings on my own. But I also do a lot of technical report writing. So I'll go in and do security vulnerability assessments and write emergency operations plan for customers and help with any policies that they already have and want, tweaked, that kind of stuff too.
Her official title is our Director of Auxiliary Programs. Mm-hmm. Also the problem-solving ninja.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is on my business card. So
yeah.
What would your Tracy?
So mine is
what would your official title be?
Official title is Director of Training and Operations, the Life-Saving Ninja.
That's her.
Mm-hmm.
That's me.
There you go. 2 ninjas in the house.
Yep.
So you mentioned that you're busy. What are you doing most of? Are you doing a lot of schools?
Tons.
Yeah.
We just came out of school in-service time, so in our last newsletter, I think it was over 8 weeks. We trained in 5 states, 13 cities. We trained over 2,500 educators, and that was 38 schools that we taught in about 8 weeks.
Are these primarily private schools, public schools, a blend?
It's a good blend. Mm-hmm. We have a really good blend. Preschools, we did do all of Wayne County schools in Tennessee. All of their educators got the training. Mm-hmm. That was our biggest group yet in one sitting, which was a lot of fun for us.
And I should note, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I should note that when we talk about you training schools,
mm-hmm.
you're training teachers, you're training educators, you're training administrative staff, you're training principals.
All the faculty and staff.
You're not freaking out the kids.
No. We don't teach kids. Over 80% of your school shooters are current or former students. So
Mm-hmm.
if you train them, you're training the next shooter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, as evidenced by, sadly, Covenant.
Yeah.
It was good evidence of that. All right, let's take a quick time out, and I want to talk specifically about the event that's coming up. This is very important,
Yes.
and it involves a little bit of backstory,
Yes.
a little bit of understanding of what happened in Davidson County
Yes.
and the Metro Nashville system, and then we'll talk about an event that if you are a school teacher, I want you to be a part of, particularly if you're a part of the school system anywhere in Davidson County, I want you to be a part of this. So 1:30, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Quick time out, back after this on The Murphy Show.
Today's show happened because I saw a comment. He said, "Why don't you do something on doves and dove fields and how to find them and things like that. So
all right.
Good idea. It's past the opening day, but like you said, it can work.
Yeah.
Because the season is long. It runs for 90 days, and there's 3 segments, so we're going to cover all that today. Let's rattle off the season. September 1 through September 28th is the first segment of Dove, and then October 14th through November 5th, and then December 8th through January 15th. 15 is your bag limit. So September 1 is opening day, and that's at noon in Tennessee.
September 1st has been one of those days. I mean, you'll see guys. I mean, they'll take off
Hey,
work.
folks, it's Matt Murphy. I want to tell you about
big,
an opportunity
big cooking
for
and
you
getting together with
to
friends,
take
and
some
it's
empowerment
kind
when
of
it comes to your health, and more importantly, when it comes to your health care. And it's through yourhealthplanman.com. Now, that is difficult for me to say, and I always want to put a care in there somewhere, and I don't know why. I don't have a care in the world because I have yourhealthplanman.com at my back. If you pay for your own health insurance coverage, if you're looking for coverage, do not go online looking for quotes. You're going to get some randos out there calling you on a regular basis from call centers. They will not stop. Instead, call an agent. He's almost a concierge of health, if you will. Tell him I said that. That's a pretty fancy way of saying that he helps you figure out exactly what you need. They provide sound advice for your health insurance needs. They have freedom of choice. Their freedom of choice plan allows you to pick from doctors, and it's 30 to 60% lower in cost than Obamacare. The monthly premiums are independent of your income, so there's no surprise tax bills at the end of the year. And if you pay for your own health insurance, or if you're uninsured, if you're on COBRA, or if your employer insurance coverage is just too expensive for you, please call yourhealthplanman.com for more information. That's the website, by the way, yourhealthplanman.com, or give them a call at 855-475-2662. That's 855-4PLAN-MAN. They'll design a plan that is managed by you, not by the government. It's yourhealthplanman.com.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. We know that diversification is an important part of the investing process, but how do you reduce risk of a portfolio through diversification? Well, you use correlations. Now think of bathing suit sales and suntan oil sales. They tend to move together, right? Think of bathing suit sales versus winter coat sales. More dissimilar movement, and that's the idea. But why is diversification so important? Well, think about it this way. Everybody would like to have this happen with their investments. They just go straight up. But what we know is this is really what tends to happen. Markets may go way up and then down, or down, then way up. Now let's say if we isolate parts of that curve right there, and the first curve right there, and the second curve right there. If you're putting money away for retirement, every time you put money in, if this is what's going on, you're buying more shares. Then just before you retire, the market goes up, you're really happy. If, on the other hand, you keep paying a higher and higher price and then the market goes down, you're really sad. And we can't choose what's going to happen with the market next. But what we can do is what we know through academic research, and there are Nobel Prizes awarded for this, is we can look for things that tend to move in dissimilar fashion. And what happens when we do that, we can reduce the volatility of the portfolio, hence bringing those curves in. Now that's the idea. Now if you want to learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call. Or you can call 615-851-1950.
Hey everybody, Dan Mattis with Nashville's Morning News on WTN. I'm here at the Nashville Rescue Mission doing the interviews that I look forward to doing every single year. These are incredible stories of people who have had amazing recoveries. Thanks to this amazing facility, they are able to get clean and lead a more productive life. The date of our annual radiothon is going to be Monday, November 20th. Listen in and please donate. You can get more information at 99.7 WTN, including a link to the website for Nashville's Rescue Mission.
Just throw him the baby. Yeah. 135 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We were just talking. If you're ever overseas, if you're ever in a foreign country, particularly a third world country, Argentina, Venezuela, India, And if anyone, this is a good tip. See, I rarely get to teach experts like Tracy and Gloria of Defense Systems, defensesystems.com, anything. But I'm going to teach you something today. Y'all ready?
Ready.
Ready? If you're in India and someone throws you a baby, swat it to the ground. Swat it to the ground.
Are you allowed to keep it?
No.
Oh.
Fake baby. Swat it to the ground.
Oh, is it a distraction?
Distraction, so they grab your stuff. See, you naturally, it's
Okay.
your this is real.
So a key piece of information. If
It's
they throw
not
you
a real
fake
baby. It's a you think it's a real baby, and then they throw you the hey, look baby, and you grab the baby, and then immediately
take all
they're
your
on
stuff.
you with scissors, and they cut your bags, and they run and grab.
Wow.
Yeah. So if anybody throws you a baby, what do we do?
swat it to the
We
ground.
swat it to the ground.
Good to know.
I was just asking because I know Tracy has twin babies.
Yes.
2.5, and I was asking Gloria if she had a baby, and she said 11 months. And I said, people look at you funny when you refuse to touch their baby.
Yeah, well.
I just throw my girls at people. I'm like,
swat it to the ground.
you don't want to hold a baby? Here you go.
We're not in a third world country, so you can't do that here.
No.
That's right. Don't do that in America.
here.
That's a good tip.
Terrible
Gloria.
plan.
Thank you. It's a bad plan. You'll be in jail within the hour.
Absolutely.
You start swatting babies to the ground. Just picturing drunks walking on Broadway.
Hold on. Drunks on Broadway. Why are the babies on Broadway?
Have you been to Broadway lately?
You have a baby in a bar.
Great dancing.
They do it, man. I'm telling you. I used to have a buddy up in Connecticut, and he called me. This is a true story. This is way back, like 25 years ago. My buddy Wayne, God rest his soul, he's dead now. But he had a newborn, and his wife worked like 12-hour days. And he called me, and the liquor stores closed at sundown in Connecticut.
Okay.
It was some law that was passed because some drunk driver hit a congressman's child. It was a bad deal, but they closed it. Well, in the wintertime, sundown in Connecticut is like 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
And so Wayne Gregory, he calls me and he says, I'm trying to get some vodka here. I can't leave the baby in the car, but I don't feel comfortable bringing the baby in the liquor store either. What am I supposed to do? And I was like,
Phone a friend, dude. Phone a friend.
Phone a friend. I mean, I said I would take the baby to the liquor store. I think this
Go offer to pay the guy sitting at the corner of the liquor store to go buy you a handle of vodka.
And now the police are the patrol unit's driving by. Looks like I'm trying to sell my baby. It's a bad look. Bad look.
We are not selling babies.
Mr. Gregory sold his baby for liquor. Okay. So don't swat it to the ground and
hold it.
But
they don't bite.
If Gloria asked me to hold her baby, I would politely decline, and then it gets weird because I'm uncomfortable. I feel like I'm going to break the baby.
Babies are made of rubber. You're not going to break the baby.
Yeah, you can't break the baby. But
you got to conquer that fear.
I don't actually offer my baby to people. I let people.
Well, not people like me.
I don't
anyway.
offer.
Well, I think maybe it's because of that. Like,
yeah.
Maybe I don't want the rejection. Yeah.
It has. I mean, I'm kidding, of course, but it has come up on occasion when you go visit people that have a new baby, and they're so happy with their baby, and I'm glad.
You want to hold my baby?
Do you want to hold the baby?
Can you hold my baby?
And I'm like, I'm
good. Just tell him you have.
I'm okay.
A cold.
Yeah.
just had a huge amount of vodka. Don't want to.
Not a good idea.
Don't want to hold your
plan.
baby.
Terrible plan.
All right, let's get serious. So, Davidson County, the Metro Nashville school system. We have much discussed everything that surrounds SROs within the school system.
Sure.
And I think as important, maybe not more important, but as important as that discussion is a discussion about training.
Yes.
And whether or not the Metro Nashville school system and their teachers have had appropriate training should, God forbid, something like happened at Covenant come to one of our public schools.
Sure.
Where are we in terms of training in Davidson County?
Nowhere.
Tell me
I think
why.
they're making an attempt. I think that they are putting that onto people that are already short-staffed. What's being asked is for the police department to handle that, to come in and train all these teachers or to train certain people in schools so that they can then train their teachers. What they don't realize is that the police department is already superbly understaffed, and you are asking them to add another thing to their plate when we really need them out there catching the criminals that are on the street. And there are other places and companies that can offer that service to schools.
I'm entirely frustrated with the superintendent of the Davidson County, the Metro Nashville school system. Dr. Battle, I do not believe has any interest in putting SROs in the school system. However, and you just left the department fairly recently.
Yes.
I feel for Chief Drake. I don't believe that he's not lying when he tells us, look, we're 300 some odd officers short.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to hear this, and he didn't say it this way, but there are places where we need officers more presently and right now than elementary schools.
Yeah.
When you look at likelihoods. Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So I get it where he's coming from, which would seem to me to speed up the necessity for appropriate training amongst
for your
teachers.
And your faculty and staff. They have to know what to do.
Well, even if they have an SRO, they still have to know what to do because that one SRO can't be everywhere all the time.
No.
And it doesn't, I mean, because you've gone through tech and the training, like the medical part that we teach, like there are certain things that you don't have time to wait for somebody to come help you.
When seconds matter, help is minutes away.
Right then and there. Yeah. So
the teachers have to know what to do in the schools, and we're not doing a good job at doing that.
Well, and I like to say this to remind people about what you do with Defense Systems. I know that Brink and you two are loath to say it because it's very, very, it's delicate and it's sensitive, but it is a fact that had not the Covenant teachers gotten the training that they needed through Brink and Defense Systems, more people would have died. I mean, there is zero chance that you would convince me otherwise because those teachers understood exactly what to do at the moment that they realized what was going on. And obviously it did not save everybody. But it saved some people, and that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
They were 100%. Rock stars.
So why is Metro Nashville not ringing your phone off the hook?
We don't know. After Covenant happened, we had a ton of Metro schools reach out pretty quickly. PTOs and parents wanting to pay for their teachers at their kids' school to go through our program. We were quickly informed that they were being told by their district to not bring us in, to not bring in outside companies. We made lots of attempts to go about it, go through the proper channels to get on board with Metro, to talk to their head of safety, to talk to whoever we needed to show them what our program looked like, offered to have them come sit in on our programs, and got nowhere. We had one school out of Metro that brought us in for training and just said, we have to have it, it's too important, and went against what the district told them to do. So that's where this...
I just want to be clear. You had public schools reaching out to you, and the district shut it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had
they were
multiple.
They were booked.
They were on our calendar.
Yeah.
We had upwards of 20 Metro schools on our calendar for this fall to bring us in to do the full training for their teachers.
To offer specific training for the teachers.
Yes.
In the sad and unlikely event that something like Covenant would happen at a public school in Davidson County.
Yes. And they were told, do not
And they shut it
bring
down.
Yes.
Why?
They said that
I think the name of equity, right? Like because a lot of parent-teacher organizations were providing the funding for the training, and not all schools have, a pool of parents that have the ability to bring in funding to hire a company like ours. And so they, it is what it is, right? It's the machine of public schools, and they just weren't comfortable with that. I guess the look of inequity in training
across the board.
Yeah. And so what type, to your knowledge, of training have they gotten?
What I am fairly confident they're getting is what our police department can offer them. It's the civilian response to active shooter events. It's through Alert, based out of Texas. Brink and I both are CRACE, is what it's called, instructors, but all of those programs are very undetailed, and they don't go into it. They don't give specifics for your teachers. So they typically, what we have found, and from teachers that we've talked to that have been through those programs, they leave with more questions than answers.
Yeah, it checks the box for the insurance and just having it out there, but it doesn't actually give answers that they need.
I want to say this for the haters, because I know that they're out there. Because most people who listen to my show know that I am a spokesperson for Defense Systems.
Yeah.
I love you guys and appreciate everything that you do. And I believe that you're the best in what you do. But I don't care if it's you. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. Find somebody that has the knowledge and expertise and training that Defense Systems offers and get these teachers trained so that they can, in the unlikely event of something like this happening, protect their students.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not the police department's fault that they don't. I mean, we have the ability now because we're not, actively doing other jobs that we can spend the time to do all of the research and deep dive into every event that's happening
and
get
structure the training in the right way, specific to the needs of the teachers.
Well, for the teachers, you cannot teach a teacher. You can't go in and teach a preschool, elementary, middle school, high school teacher the same way that you can go in and you can teach law enforcement officers how to respond to active shooter events. They're in two totally different realms. What they can do and their capabilities are completely different. You can't teach them the same. I can show things to law enforcement officers and first responders and certain types of people that I cannot show to my teachers. Because they have the heart of a teacher for a reason. None of them got into that job because they make millions of dollars and they're going to be billionaires in a couple of years and retire early. They got into it because they love our kids.
Yet at the same time, I tell you, your boss, I've seen him. He's got a tender heart. He would not admit that were he here, but
he's great.
He showed me. I might not. I probably shouldn't say this, but the amount of tactical care kits on desks at Covenant
Oh yeah,
broke him up.
It destroyed us.
Broke him up because that indicated, and for those that don't understand, it's a care kit with tourniquets, and it's got patches, chest seals, and that sort of thing.
Bandage, all of that.
And he showed me a couple of photos that he could, and he focused in on those kits, and he said that tells me that even before the danger, the threat had left,
They were ready.
They were ready to assist wounded. That's a part of the training.
Every class that we walked into, Matt, and I'll choke up because it's a proud moment for us for those teachers. Like every class that I walked into on that walkthrough with homicide 2 days later, everyone I walked into had their med kit ready to help their kids. And I have had SROs from not in Davidson County, but from a different county surrounding who have said to me, do you really think that your teachers are going to put tourniquets on their kids? And I will fight you to say yes.
They're ready.
Absolutely.
Of course they're ready. They love their kids.
And that's all about training.
It's all about training.
It's all about just helping a teacher understand what your priorities are and kind of putting it in their mind. I mean, I know because I went through it.
Yes.
And it's just kind of setting in your mind what the order of operation is, what you need to do first.
Absolutely.
And what you need to do. I mean, and
but if they don't know, if they have no knowledge, if they have nothing to work off of, then they're just sitting ducks in their schools.
And currently, the Metro Nashville school system doesn't really have a structured plan to get comprehensive training across the board in their school system.
Not that we know of, no.
So what's our answer?
So our answer, after that happened, I had several teachers reach out to wanting the training. I told them to give me a little bit of time because it made me think that, okay, we may not be able to get into each school individually, but if you have individual teachers that want to take their preparedness into their own hands, we could offer a class that's open. We could offer a class that's an open enrollment. They buy a ticket, they come to this class, we have a location, we provide lunch, and they get the full 4-hour program. So we finally were able to find a day that worked where Metro actually is on a holiday. And so we could offer it to our Metro teachers that just don't have.
So we're doing it.
We're doing it.
We're doing a course.
We're doing it.
When is this?
It's November the 10th. It's a Friday. Metro is out of school to observe Veterans Day, which is on Saturday. It's on a Friday. It's being hosted at the Asurian corporate headquarters. They're giving us a space to be able to host all these Metro teachers. And it starts at 9:30 and it'll go till 2:30.
9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Any Metro teacher that wants to, it's open for
any teacher that wants to sign up.
Any teacher that wants to sign up. You're not going to ask them where they're from.
No.
If you're an instructor and you want to learn,
want it, come and get it.
Because this is going to be geared specifically to school settings and for instructors who are in those settings and what they can do and how they. Because like you say, the circumstances surrounding a business like ours versus a school setting where you got 10-year-olds.
Yes.
It's just a completely different environment.
Yes. What we teach our preschool teachers that have kids 5 and under versus what we teach, what their first step is versus what the first step is for a teacher that has high school kids is different.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the tickets are $100. That includes their lunch that's being brought in, and they'll get the full curriculum from us.
Yeah.
And Asurian offers the event space for free, which keeps the tickets price down. So thank you to Asurian. I mean, they should be applauded for doing what they're doing.
They're incredible. I reached out to them and let them know that this was what we were looking to do, and they said we support it and we're happy to do it. Let me make sure the rooms are available.
And you said there's a corporate headquarters?
Yes, it's right there at 1101 Church Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how can people find out more information? How can people sign up?
They can sign up if they go to schoolsafetyseminar.com. That'll take them directly to the Eventbrite for the event. If they want to email us, I can send them the information as well. That's just info@defendsystems.com, and I can send them the link to register. But schoolsafetyseminar.com takes you right to it.
Or you could go to Tracy at menthol cigarettes.com.
No, don't do
that. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Schoolsafetyseminar.com.
We'll take you nowhere.
I feel the need to.
We have to.
The first time I met Tracy, Brink introduced me to Tracy, and I said that her last name was Menthol. And
was it Menthol or Mendelsohn?
It was something wrong.
Yes, it was wrong, and I threatened to never come back on the show. But here I am. Yeah. But strawberry cake is back because you remember the next time I came, you called my boss cornbred and me strawberry cake.
I don't know.
What about Gloria? What's she?
I'm just a Gators fan over here.
I almost made a Gloria Johnson joke, and I can't do it. I can't pull the trigger. I can't pull the trigger because I fear that she might. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yes.
there are certain lines that you don't cross, and that's one of them. Back to more serious matters. Give me the website again. Give me the
It is
specifics.
schoolsafetyseminar.com. The event's on November the 10th from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Tickets are $100 a person, which includes lunch. And it's at the Assyrian corporate headquarters at 1101 Church Street.
Public schools, private schools.
If you are a teacher and you want to sign up, then sign up. We want you there. We did this event because we really are hoping to get several metro school teachers in it.
Yeah.
But if you're a teacher and you want it, we want to see you. If we fill this class and we feel the need that we need more, then we'll keep scheduling them. But that's the goal, is to reach as many teachers as possible.
Not a lot of time, but real quick, Matt, have they done anything with the Sumner County schools?
We are working on it. We actually are. We've been in good talks with them. I had one of the board members sit in on a class that I did at a church in Sumner County recently. That is moving in the right direction. Yes.
Listen, thank you for everything that you do. I appreciate you guys on a macro level, but on a micro level, the fact that you're battling this specific situation that is, sad, but it's a reality. And when you reach an obstacle in the road, you can either sit there and whine about it, or you can do something about it and go around it. You're going around it, and I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Tracy Gloria with Defense Systems. We'll be back in a moment. Wrap up the hour. Senator Tommy Tuberville coming up at 2:05. The Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief, for a long time, over 30 years, they've been providing pain relief in the city of Nashville and throughout Middle Tennessee. Chiropractic care was long considered to be structural care, right? It was spinal care. It was bones. But it's more than that now. It's grown to be more than that. With some of the incredible modern technology they have, like the red light therapy, the laser therapy at the Dr. Gill Center, they deal with inflammation as much as they deal with bone issues or spinal issues, and they want to help you. They want to help reduce that inflammation, reduce that pain that comes along with it. They want to offer you significant relief in the next 30 days. So if you suffer from knee pain or back pain or neck pain, any sort of pain, and you want a pain-free life, call them today and say Pain Relief and Matt Murphy, 615-882-4838, 615-882-4838. Call them today and schedule that appointment, and I promise you, you can get there without the need for pills and certainly without the need for surgery. Thank you to the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief.
2 o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. Right now, 64 degrees in Nashville and expecting a sunny day tomorrow, but then showers will welcome the later part of this week. Complete weather forecast just a few minutes away. Continuing coverage on the war in Israel, Michelle Franzen.
Israel continues to target Hamas holdouts in Gaza, working to crush the terror group, but civilians are caught in the crossfire. The health ministry in Gaza says as many as 500 died today after a bomb targeted a hospital in central Gaza. ABC's Ian Pannell says more than 1 million others are displaced and on the run.
People are trying to find somewhere safe to go. Meanwhile, you've got hundreds of foreign nationals, including 500 to 600 American passport holders, also trapped in Gaza. Negotiations underway to try and get them out, but so far that border isn't opening to allow the foreign nationals out, or indeed the international aid back in.
Israeli forces preparing for a ground offensive that will include searching for nearly 200 hostages held by Hamas. President Biden visits Israel tomorrow, a show of support. He'll also meet with Arab leaders in an effort to keep the conflict from spreading.
And the airstrikes from Hamas militants and Israeli forces are not dying down. More than 4,000 people, both from Israel and from Gaza, have died. Nearly 200 hostages taken from Israel are also thought to be somewhere in Gaza, and Hamas has said that non-Israeli hostages could be released if certain conditions are met. Right now in Tennessee, a 17-year-old student was arrested today after being found with a gun in his car at McGavock High School. The Ruger 9mm was loaded in the center console of the vehicle. School officials obtained a picture of him with that gun, and they then conducted a search. The nation's capital, Republican Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio this afternoon failed to be elected Speaker of the House in the first round of voting. 20 Republicans voted against him. Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill says the vote leaves the legislative branch in a lurch.
Republicans have shown they cannot, at this stage, govern their own majority in the House of Representatives, and that has real ramifications for the unfolding crises in Israel as well as Ukraine, where there's big funding issues that will be at stake soon. Government funding overall about a month from now. The big issues that are on the Republican agenda around border security, around potential impeachment of Joe Biden, all effectively shelved for the time being.
And that is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. We know that diversification is an important part of the investing process, but how do you reduce risk of a portfolio through diversification? Well, you use correlations. Now think of bathing suit sales and suntan oil sales. They tend to move together, right? Think of bathing suit sales versus winter coat sales. More dissimilar movement, and that's the idea. But why is diversification so important? Well, think about it this way. Everybody would like to have this happen with their investments. They just go straight up. But what we know is this is really what tends to happen. Markets may go way up and then down, or down, then way up. Now let's say if we isolate parts of that curve right there, and the first curve right there, and the second curve right there. If you're putting money away for retirement, every time you put money in, if this is what's going on, you're buying more shares. Then just before you retire, the market goes up, you're really happy. If on the other hand, you keep paying a higher and higher price, and then the market goes down, you're really sad. And we can't choose what's going to happen with the market next. But what we can do is what we know through academic research, and there are Nobel Prizes awarded for this, is we can look for things that tend to move in dissimilar fashion. And what happens when we do that, we can reduce the volatility of the portfolio, hence bringing those curves in. Now that's the idea. Now, if you want to learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call. Or you can call 615.
Friends, USS stands for United Structural Systems. They are simply the finest structural company when it comes to your residence in Tennessee, in Southern Kentucky, in Northern Alabama, within the sound of my voice. And they have almost 30 years of experience and 25,000 plus customers as proof of the satisfaction that they provide you when you make the call. Now, you don't call them because you don't think anything's wrong, although you could. I mean, if you want a consultation to make sure that everything's A-OK in your home, they're happy to do that. But when it comes to encapsulation, when it comes to foundation repair, when it comes to waterproofing repair, they're there for you when you need them. Standing water in your crawl space or a musty odor, you need to talk about encapsulation in your home. If you have stair-step cracks in masonry or doors and windows that stick, you need to talk to them about foundation settlement that maybe not the best for your home. They can assist you, and they're not going to overcharge you. They're not going to oversell you. They're simply going to fix what ails your home and give you that level of peace of mind. Homeowners simply trust USS. They've been keeping homes stable and dry since 1994. Call 615-488-7855, 488-7855, USS, United Structural Systems. Here we go. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show, final hour of our day on this Tuesday, October 17, 2023. Hope you're doing well. Let's see what's going on outside. A little overcast. I mean, from a weather perspective, there's, just a layer of clouds. Not as cold as it was yesterday. Best looking day, I think, is tomorrow, and then some rain moving in on Thursday afternoon into Friday. But as they tell us, we need the rain, right? Yeah? No?
Sure.
Yeah. You turned on your microphone. I thought you were going to participate in the conversation, but okay.
No, I had something else that I wanted to mention.
All right. Before you do, Mac Moore's back in the newsroom. He's delivering headlines. My name is Matt Murphy. I'm the host of these proceedings, and there's the executive producer of this broadcast, the Matt Murphy Show. We call him Bell K, a.k.a. Headless Bell.
Headless Bell.
Because he does not participate on the television side of things because he's in the witness protection program.
This is true.
You were saying?
At the end of the interview with Tim Burchett, we were discussing his peanut butter and jelly tweets of his sandwiches that he was having for lunch.
I have a comment on this, too.
And some people started bringing up their favorite type of peanut butter sandwiches, and a few of you mentioned peanut butter and mayonnaise. I just want you to know you've officially been banned, and I don't know who I'm reporting you to, but I am going to report you to somebody. So if you don't get a response from now on, just think peanut butter and mayo.
That's foul.
Okay, Maury, because I wounn't pretend that Bell K would participate in this. But if my wife makes them, and I provide, no, hold on. Have you ever had peanut butter and butter?
I was hearing you talk about this, and I was going, no, but that sounds awesome. Bell was giving it
that
the no-go.
Actually sounds edible, but peanut butter and mayo, I'm sorry, you're banned.
Yeah, nope, I'm out.
So
that sounds good.
I would be willing to try both. I've never been a peanut butter and jelly fan. I'm not really that much of a fan of peanut butter.
Oh, I love peanut butter.
You like the peanut butter, do you? Is this what you were going to talk about, the peanut butter and butter?
Yep, that was it. I really want to try that. That sounds good. Do you melt this butter, or you just go and slab on? Or
I think the butter needs to be room temp at least.
Okay.
You don't want to get it too gooey.
Yeah.
But I think, room temp butter so it's nice and spreadable. And then how do you want creamy peanut butter or chunky peanut butter?
Yes, creamy.
Creamy? All right, just generally speaking, creamy or chunky?
Creamy.
Am I saying that right? Is it chunky?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah, chunky.
Yeah, I'm a chunky guy.
Oh, really?
I mean, in more
don't
ways than
dislike
one.
it.
You're chunky because of the chunky.
Oh, man, peanut butter's so good. It's not, I know that everybody says that it has everything you need from it's got protein, it's got fat, it's got all of those things, and whatever. But, all I know is on a Saturday night after watching football, if I find myself with a big old honking spoonful of peanut butter, life is not good. That's a poor look. Sitting there in my pajamas with some peanut butter on a spoon.
When I was in college, that was a regular nightly meal for me.
Oh yeah, just a huge spoon of peanut butter,
huge spoonful,
and just stick it in your mouth and just let it slowly dissolve.
Yes, exactly. This is what I have. Make this last.
So sad.
It's the worst.
But good times. So I will prepare or have prepared for us some peanut butter and butter sandwiches for Friday Mac Attack.
Yes. Not potted meat. Yeah.
Not potted meat. So, and I will also have prepared, just in case we have anybody amongst us more adventurous. I'll do it. I'll try it. I'll try peanut butter and mayo. I'll give it a bite. Because I don't think I'll like it, but I also don't think that it will make me puke. I don't think. Operative word there's think. I don't think it will.
Oh, this will be fun.
But I'm pretty sure it won't. So we'll try. We'll try this.
Yeah, we'll do like a sandwich draft or something.
I tried peanut butter and cheese once. Believe it or not, it was good. I don't know how it was good, but
cheese is so good. I mean,
cheese is good. Peanut butter's good. You put it together, whatever.
Yeah, fine. I'm okay.
That's cool. It's kind of like that sweet and salty thing going on. What's happening there? So Bell, you're in on peanut butter and butter for Friday?
Yeah.
I don't pretend that you're going to try peanut butter and mayonnaise.
No.
I'm not
going to come on the air and chastise the listening audience for having mentioned that repeatedly from different people and then eat it.
People continue to say that it's delicious. And look, guys, pretty much anything with peanut butter is cool. I mean, any two good things. Now we got peanut butter and ketchup. When you're a communist.
Oh, yeah, you people just, all right, all of you
y'all are just making stuff
up.
Yeah,
that's trolling. Come on.
Come on.
Peanut butter, sauerkraut.
Now, peanut butter and bacon, I could see that.
Yeah, I could go for that.
Because, you get some pancakes with some syrup and some bacon, and that kind of, the pancake syrup is kind of the peanut butter. Yeah, I could see that. Sure. But peanut butter and ketchup, you need to, you know what? Peanut butter and ketchup guy, I don't know who you are or who you think you're talking to, but you need to go find another show. You need to go listen to Big D and Bubba or whatever the hell. I mean, you need to go somewhere else.
You're banned.
Speaking of, did you know that this radio show had been nominated for Radio Show of the Year?
Woo! In the Tennessean?
In the Tennessean.
Yeah, I heard somebody told me that. I think it was you.
Way to go, man.
I think that represents, but based on the fact that no other shows on Super Talk were nominated, that I must be the most liberal show here, I guess. Because it is the Tennessean, right?
Yeah, I get, you're going to follow the logic train of thought. That would be right.
I think maybe I called myself a libertarian and they thought I meant liberal.
Yeah,
so
that's got to be what it was.
They misheard you.
But if you value talk radio above this music clap, why not go and vote for us at the Tennessean, Tennessean.com. I think the voting is still active until tomorrow or something or another. So, or I might have missed it by a day. I don't know. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. So, you know what? It's an honor just to be nominated amongst the assembled radio personalities. I have no idea where Tommy Tuberville is. He was supposed to call us. I almost guarantee you that they think it's 2 o'clock Eastern. Well, no, they would have called it 1 if that were the case. So I don't know where he is, but we had scheduled him for today. We'll try to see what's going on. In the meantime, Andrew is held for you picked up on Andrew, right? You told Andrew that he would have to wait, didn't you?
No.
You didn't?
No, he's listening on hold. You told him.
Did I? Well, Andrew, we had the guest. I mean, I thought the bell gave you the heads up there. But look, Andrew, I owe you. I'll tell you what. For your hold today, I'm going. Next time we see one another, you get a bottle of water and an ink pen used by me. How about that?
Oh my God, so much. I so appreciate that.
I am so sorry that you had to hold so long, but God bless you for doing so. What's on your mind, man?
No worries, man. I had a statement about the whole speaker vote. I think basically what's just happened is like all the establishment, elitist, old guard Republicans are throwing a tantrum that Matt Gaetz and this new group of people that are coming in don't get to run the show. You know what I mean? Even though Matt literally told everybody what he was going to do, told the speaker what was going to happen if he didn't adhere to the rules, and then he followed through with what he said he was going to do, which I think is what's caused such the uproar in that whole level of establishment, is because somebody actually got there and did what they said they were going to do and held them accountable for their actions.
Well, and I hope you've listened to my take on this, Andrew, which is right in line with yours. I didn't have a problem with making McCarthy speaker and giving him an opportunity to see what he could do. So
yeah, exactly. Everybody, you give everybody the reason of the doubt.
But he's the one,
the most establishment-ish
right,
one
right.
they could get. So.
But he's the one that agreed to the concessions. He's the one that made the promises. And Gaetz got the motion to vacate the chair in that rules package for a reason and said, if you don't live by your promises, I'm going to do this. So you're right. I mean, he didn't abide by his promise.
Yes, the Burchett fellow actually confirmed that, saying that, it was a bunch of old guard holdouts that were basically like holding their breath, like they're not going to cave with it. Oh, God forbid this whippersnapper come in here and like tell us how to run our thing. I mean, obviously they can't run it for Jack anyway, because look where we're at. We literally have the most establishment president that we've ever had in the history of establishment. And all these other people that are all just establishment playing the same game. Like they're not trying to do anything. They're not trying to fix anything because they don't get paid if things get fixed. They don't get reelected if things get fixed.
Man, well spoken. What are your hopes that Jim Jordan can do better?
that I'll be honest, I don't think anybody up there will do anything other than the status quo. And I think that people like Matt Gaetz and all these other people that hold them to the fire and hold them accountable will either be ousted, silenced, or converted to their way. Otherwise, they won't get funding. They won't get reelected. They won't get chairmanships in any kind of the little circles that they play in. They won't let the man do anything, and they'll blackball him along with anybody else that has that ideology because they cannot stand to see the citizens of states around the country finally having a voice in their political oligarchy that they've established for themselves.
I think it's well spoken, Andrew. I maintain a hope that we are moving ourselves back to a semblance of regular order. At least with regular order, I believe that the citizens of the United States of America get what they voted for. Because at very least, then each representative has a voice at the table. Each representative can amend bills. The bills are dealt with singularly, not collectively. There's no omnibus spending. So I feel like that's moving it in the right direction. I maintain hope, but part of me, a large part of me, Andrew, agrees with you that all of this is just whistling past the graveyard, and we are doomed as a nation. I don't want to think that way. I choose not to think that way, so I'm going to maintain some hope.
And I know I don't know how much time I got, but just one more small thing, like is in regards to Israel and Hamas and Gaza and that whole deal. We've been at war with Ukraine for almost 2 years, or with Ukraine against Russia for almost 2 years, and we don't even get the coverage that we've gotten over the past few days of buildings getting exploded and, people on stretchers and wall-to-wall hourly coverage like it was, the end of time. But we're sending them billions and billions of dollars. So my question is, what's the bigger picture here, and what are they trying to distract us from? Because obviously we haven't had this kind of coverage in Ukraine, and we're sending them massive amounts of cash. And meanwhile, you do have videos coming out of Kiev and other places in Ukraine where they're just going about daily life. It's clearly not a war zone in areas there, but the powers that be would have you believe that they need more and more and more and more for this massive offensive that's happening over here, but they don't give you the same coverage as what they're giving you in Israel. And why would we give humanitarian aid to Palestine and to the Gaza Strip and Hamas, because all those people are complicit with Hamas doing what they're doing? Why would we give humanitarian aid to people that are complicit with the destruction of Israel and the West and everything else that we stand for?
All right, I'm going to answer that question on the other side. But I think they want you to whistle. They want you to pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, to use another movie parlance with regard to Ukraine. Israel is a little more straightforward, but I agree with you. I cannot trust that any humanitarian aid would go to humanitarian purposes if Hamas has anything to do with it. Similarly to the way that I don't trust anything that Iran does for humanitarian purposes, because I don't believe them. That's why Haggerty and others in the United States Senate are moving to freeze the $6 billion, and we will ask a United States Senator about that very thing when we come back on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coach Tommy Tuberville joins us next. Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy. Let's talk about your health. I mentioned that about 6 months ago, I got a body scan from Kraft Body Scan. I'm so glad that I did, because I'm a little bit, as I get older, a hypochondriac. I want to make sure that everything's doing what it should inside of my body, even if I don't feel symptomatic about anything. And right now, October is National Healthy Lung Month, a time to increase awareness and education about the topic of having good lung health. Did you know that October, being National Healthy Lung Month, is a great chance for you to get in to Kraft Body Scan, and for $149, they are offering you this very special for not only you, but also your spouse or your significant other or just your best friend, your bestie. Heart and lung scan at Kraft Body Scan during the month of October is only $149. I've done it. It is easy. It's non-invasive. It's a CT scan. It takes just over 5 minutes and can detect even the slightest irregularity in your lungs or in your heart. You get peace of mind, folks. I know I did. 615-436-1000. 615-436-1000. Kraft Body Scan. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy and you until 3 this afternoon. We hand off to the drive with Brian Wilson at that time. Right now, we go to the Murphy Show hotline. Wait. Stand by. Stand by for this. I'm just getting a note from the senator's folks that she will text me when he gets on the line. So we will go to Coach Tommy Tuberville, senior senator from the great state of Alabama, when Hannah gives me the thumbs up on this. By the way, I knew I was wrong, Bell, and you did not have my back. You didn't. McMorry did not have
wrong
my
about
back.
what?
I knew that it was not chunky peanut butter.
Crunchy.
It's
crunchy.
It's crunchy peanut butter.
6 of 1.
Well, I had to. There's a reason why they don't call it chunky peanut butter.
6 of 1, half a dozen of the other.
I'm a big fan of extra crunchy myself. So I'm also a big fan of the senior senator from the great state of Alabama. He is Tommy Tuberville. What a great job. I never thought that he'd be a better senator than he was a coach. And he is. And he joins us now to talk about activities going on in Washington, D.C. and around the world. Coach, good afternoon. Thank you for being on with us again.
First thing I hear, y'all talking about peanut butter. What the heck's going on?
You know, you never know what you're going to get, Coach. It was we had Congressman Tim Burchett on, and I don't know if you know Tim from the House. He's up here in Tennessee, and he's eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches while they try to find them a Speaker of the House. And we started talking about peanut butter and jelly for some reason. I don't know why. You never know what you're going to get on the Matt Murphy Show, Coach.
No, I don't. How's it going up there, Matt?
We're holding down the fort, you know, trying to do good work on Super Talk. We appreciate you doing the same in Washington for the state of Alabama and for the country under some duress. It's my understanding that you're getting attention from some of the wrong people. I know you don't necessarily like to talk about this, but your job comes with its share of criticism, and some of that criticism has grown to threats. I don't like that.
No, I've gotten a couple dozen death threats since I've been up here. Actually, they got a few of them in jail. They've caught them, and that happens. It didn't quite get that personal when I was coaching. It lasted a few days during coaching, but up here now, we got a lot of crazies. And last week, I think most people saw this former NSA director and CIA director pretty much say, hey, I need to be eliminated. And, I mean, when somebody with that kind of background and that stature, people hear him talk, I mean, there's enough crazies out there that believe some of this stuff. So it's unfortunate it happened. Steve Marshall, the Attorney General in the state of Alabama, come out today and kind of went after him. And they should go after this guy. It's not me, but it's going after a sitting United States senator because we don't jihad on the same political ideas that each other believe in. So it is what it is.
Well, Coach, your stand against this mass approval of certain nominations for the United States military is ongoing. You have said that you will not lift your blanket hold, but you certainly, they're well within their rights to allow nominees to proceed individually, which they've done on occasion. But now some are suggesting that you're somehow hurting the United States military, especially during these times with Israel at war with Hamas. What do you say? How do you speak back to that narrative that you are somehow hurting our military readiness?
Never let a crisis go to waste, and that's exactly what they're using here. They think that I'm the cause and the problem with what's going on in Israel. And by the way, that's a horrific deal that happened there. It's just Hamas needs to be eradicated. But it just shows you the intelligence of some of the people that work in the Pentagon, work in the White House here. I mean, we're dealing with an empty suit in the White House now. We could have left the White House empty and not had a president and done better than what this group's done over the last 3 years. And then you just go right on down the street to the Pentagon, right across the Potomac. It'd be the same way. These people have no common sense. They care more about abortion than they do about national security, if that's their thoughts, because all they got to do is move it back to the old policy, which the Democrats voted on 35 years ago. They're the ones that passed it. Joe Biden even voted for it. And I did not like the way they did it by memo, because the people across the country deserve to vote on probably the most popular topic in our country in our lifetime, abortion. They deserve a right for their representatives to vote on this. And they don't think so. They want to dictate. They want to play communism out of the White House and Pentagon, and I'm not going to allow it.
Talk to me a little bit about what our role should be regarding Israel and Hamas and the war going on there. I'm of the opinion, Coach, that there are three ways for the American government to get involved. One is militarily, two would be financially or materially, and the other would be in solidarity with Israel and essentially there to say to other nations, let Israel respond as they must to eliminate Hamas. Where are you on all of this?
I agree with that last one totally. And this is Israel is they deserve the right to go back and do what they need to do to protect their citizens, and not just theirs. You got to remember, we lost 30 Americans. We still have a couple dozen maybe as hostages. This was an horrific attack. I've seen footage that other people hadn't seen. It's awful. I mean, these are animals. These are barbarians that come across the Gaza Strip there and did horrific damage to men, women, and children. And so they deserve to be able to fight back. And then let's go back to what the Americans should do. We should sit back, let people know we got their back. And we're doing right now, we've got 2 carrier groups out in the Mediterranean, but we should immediately put sanctions, not be giving money to Iran. Iran is the backer of this. You got to remember, Iran is the tree of this. A branch on the tree is Hamas. Another branch on the tree is Hezbollah. But all the funding, all the training, all the support comes from the big tree called Iran. And we have to understand that. Now, President Trump had Iran basically bankrupt when he was in office. He sanctioned the heck out of them. They couldn't sell oil. They couldn't do anything. They were down to almost nothing in the bank. Since Joe Biden's been in office, they're almost $100 billion to the good. And Joe Biden has backed this. He sponsored it. He's part of this in a roundabout way. People need to understand that the policies of the Biden administration absolutely helped Iran and Hamas and Hezbollah to engage in what they've engaged in.
One of our senators, Bill Hagerty, just released a press release saying that as a member of the Senate Banking and Foreign Relations Committee, he joined Senator Tim Scott in introducing the Revoke Iranian Funding Act. I know 22 other senators are amongst those supporting this. Do you support this as well? This would formalize out of the United States Senate the freeze of that $6 billion.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But, we can play games with this. Brett, the big thing with this is $6 billion it's a lot of money. But they're selling oil across this world and making tons of money. And it goes a couple of ways. Number one, we're allowing them to do it. And the other thing is we're not doing what we need to do in our oil production. People are buying oil from Iran that should be buying oil from us. Europe, for instance. I mean, Joe Biden and his fossil fuel and green energy plan is absolutely destroying the United States of America and other countries and helping the countries that don't need to be helped in terms of terrorism.
President Joe Biden is visiting tomorrow Israel. What do you hope, if anything, is accomplished out of that? You mentioned the empty suit narrative, which is, I mean, I observe it every day. Senator, you do as well. It feels like the world is burning around us. Domestically, we've got two separate organizations who are on strike. These are private institutions, but that has financial ramifications. We're not seeing any energy production in the United States of America. Our southern border is porous. Who knows who's pouring across the southern border? And he's going to Israel to urge the Israelis' proportionality in terms of their response. What would you hope would be accomplished out of a visit like that?
Well, as you said, the most important thing to me is our country first and our border. The first thing when he woke up after Hamas and Israel, that when they attacked Israel, he should call up the military, stop the border, cover it up, do not let anybody else through, because we have got more terrorists in this country than we've ever had in our lifetime. And we're going to have a problem in this country in the very near future, and it's all because of his policies at the border. I would hope that President Biden would get something done. I'm worried to death that we're on the verge of World War III because, reading the Bible. I mean, that's what it says. It's all going to end in the Middle East. So there's huge problems. And a lot of them have been caused, again, by this administration's policies. There have been nothing right for foreign relations or for the American people from Joe Biden and his empty suit clowns in the background. And so it scares me to death about what the future holds with what he's going to do and push in this instance. I'm sure there'll be a red line out there between Hezbollah. If you come in, we're going to get involved in all this kind of stuff. Whatever he does, he needs to back up. I remember when Obama talked about Syria, he drew that red line. They stepped over it, and he ran like a chicken. If the United States of America is ever going to get back on top in terms of the number one superpower in the world, we got to have leadership from people in Washington, D.C., and we've got very little as we speak.
Finally, Coach, and I know your time's limited here, but I know that it's a back burner issue for most in their psyche, the American people, but you've been working on the NIL deal and trying to figure out what the government's involvement is in it and whether or not we can formalize and make it a level playing field with regard to college athletics across the country. Is there any update on that?
Well, you're exactly right. And, we had a judiciary hearing today with Charlie Baker, the new NCAA director, a Big Ten commissioner, and former athletes and all that. It's a mess. You've seen it. I've seen it. We're headed in the direction of everything else that's gone bad in this country because of policies. Well, this is a policy here that, and I'm for athletes making money, but some of the numbers that you're seeing and some of the things that are going on right now with transferring and nobody's getting educated, you can't transfer and graduate in 4 years. It's impossible. And so what Joe Manchin and I tried to do is we tried to get education back involved in this, get some sanity back into it. Last week, Georgia voted in their state house to allow high school athletes to take money. What are we doing? What happened to education and moral values and all those things? Those come first. But that being said, hopefully we can get something done. We've got to go through the Commerce Committee with our bill. Ted Cruz is heading that up. I think we'll have an opportunity possibly to get something on the floor of the Senate, but the Democrats want to unionize everybody, including athletes, so it's going to be very hard to get that passed.
Coach, I know you'll keep us updated. Thank you for being on with us from time to time to update us on your efforts in Washington, D.C., and hold down Alabama for me. I'll be down there to see y'all soon.
You got it. God bless.
All right, take care. God bless you too, Coach. There's Coach Tommy Tuberville joining us. We're late. It's 2:35 on Super Talk.
$2:35. I'm Mac Maury with your top stories right now. 64 degrees, a cloudy, overcast day on Music Row. We got a full weather forecast headed your way in 2 minutes. The United Nations saying no food, fuel, or fresh water arrived in Gaza in more than a week now since Israel imposed a blockade as part of its response to Hamas launching a deadly attack on Israel. Hospitals say they're now running out of supplies, and more than 4,000 people, both from Israel and from Gaza, have died. Nearly 200 hostages taken from Israel and are also thought to be somewhere in Gaza. And Hamas has said that non-Israeli hostages could be released if certain conditions are met. Right now, over in the nation's capital, no House Speaker was elected after the first round of voting today. Jim Jordan of Ohio vying for the speakership, but 20 of his fellow Republicans voted against him. It's more opposition than Kevin McCarthy got after the first 2 rounds of voting when he ran back in January. Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee, who voted for Jordan, told reporters after the vote that Republicans need to huddle again before a second round of voting.
I think that'd probably be a good idea. See where everybody is and address some individual concerns. I think that's part of the problem in the past, that individuals weren't heard, and this is where we're at.
And that is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey everybody, Dan Mattis with Nashville's Morning News on WTN. I'm here at the Nashville Rescue Mission doing the interviews that I look forward to doing every single year. These are incredible stories of people who have had amazing recoveries. Thanks to this amazing facility, they are able to get clean and lead a more productive life. The date of our annual radiothon is going to be Monday, November 20th. Listen in and please donate. You can get more information at 99.7 WTN, including a link to the website for Nashville's Rescue Mission.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for Efficient Heating and Cooling. Colder. It's not cold like wintertime cold, but it's cold like turn on the heat time cold. And if you've turned on the heat and you smell that smell and you're like, what's that? You need to call Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling. You haven't done that yet, have you? Jeff Eddy will come out, clean those ducts. He'll clean that heating coil, make sure that you don't have to smell that smell. We turned our heat on 2 days ago, something like that. You know, you had to do it. It's down to 45 degrees outside in the mornings, and so you need to knock that chill off. And if you've done so and it's not running like it should, or it's smelling weird, or something's going on wrong, Jeff Eddy is your one-stop shop for all of these things. Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling, they keep their invoices low by not charging you overtime ever. They never charge you overtime because your heater doesn't know what time it is when it goes out. They're never going to tell you you need to replace it when you don't. They tell you the truth about the matter, and when it's time, they're a diamond contractor with Mitsubishi Electric, an Elite Pro partner with Rheem. I trust Jeff Eddy, and you can too. So, if the heater's not ready, call Jeff Eddy. And Efficient Heating and Cooling, 615-784-4424, 784-4424.
Today's show happened because I saw a comment. He said, why don't you do something on doves and dove fields and how to find them and things like that. So
yeah, all right.
Good idea. It's past opening day, but like you said, it can work.
Yeah.
Because the season is long. It runs for 90 days, and there's 3 segments, so we're going to cover all that today. Let's rattle off the season. September 1 through September 28th is the first segment of Dove, and then October 14th through November 5th, and then December 8th through January 15th. 15 is your bag limit. So September 1 is opening day, and that's at noon in Tennessee.
September 1st has been one of those days. I mean, you'll see guys. I mean, they'll take off work. Have big big cooking and getting together with friends, and it's kind of neat to see.
Yeah.
Historically, it's a huge social event. I'd say the majority of the hunters probably hunt opening day, opening weekend, and then won't pick up a shotgun until next year. So,
we have 2 other segments besides this one, running in October, and then even all the way through, was that January 15th. There's a lot of opportunity throughout the year.
On our website, tnwildlife.org, on our homepage, you can click the button there to dove hunting info and fields is what the button's titled. It's got all the information on dove hunting. You can find the fields there. So let's talk about how to find a field. You click on Region 2, it pulls up the options that are available, and get down to Bark Camp Barrens, and you see it's open statewide. So the hunting's not over there. There's still opportunity. Even though we had a big opening day, let it die down a little bit and get back in there. You're going to have some good hunting, I think, there, sounds like, anyway.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and let's talk for a moment about Paul Winkler and everything that Paul Winkler offers. Paul Winkler's message is simple. He wants to instruct you, educate you on the financial world. And I love the approach to planning and investment. Nothing is done on commission, which is big for me, and everything's done through education for the clients. Like me, I'm a Paul Winkler client, and I'm also a paid spokesperson. I tell you that just to let you know that Paul pays me to say nice things about him, but I would say that anyway, and do often, because I believe in the way that he does his business. He's got experience in every single office that he has, and he has 10 separate offices to serve you. Set up a free 15-minute telephone consultation right now at paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com. Give him a call, 615-851-1950. 851-1950. For Paul Winkler, once again, paulwinkler.com. Hello. How are you guys? Nice to see you. We'll visit with Brian Wilson coming up in a couple of minutes, find out what's going on the drive. Right now, the red-headed stranger is here. We were just talking about weed. Were you listening? Pamela Furr and I we're just conversing about gummies.
Yes, we were, indeed.
I'm just fascinated with the casual nature and we were talking about this off air, so let's talk about it on air.
Sure.
I'm fascinated with the casual nature that people are willing to discuss
gummies, getting high.
And intaking. But no, I just do it to go to sleep. That's what they all say. I'm like, no, you don't. There's melatonin for that.
Yes, you do it to just chill out.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it relaxes you. I'm sure. That's what I'm told. That's what I hear.
That's the rumor.
That's what I hear from my wife after I've taken a gummy, and she's like, well, that thing's relaxing you, isn't it? Anyway.
Hi.
But enough about that. How you doing? I called you the red-headed stranger yesterday because I hadn't seen you.
I did not know you had done that. I did not hear that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it has been a while. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. How are things going at Americans for Prosperity?
Wonderful. And we were meeting with lawmakers today, in fact, just kind of getting the lay of the land, if you will, for the upcoming general session in January.
That's going to be a ton of fun.
I think it is. I think we're going to accomplish a lot of things next session. I really do.
Yeah,
I think school choice will eventually pass. I think education savings accounts will actually pass.
This next session?
I really do. I have a lot of faith. I have a lot of hope that our lawmakers are going to do the right thing.
My hope, first and foremost, is that the leadership, especially in the House of Representatives, has an action plan ready to get to the business of the people of Tennessee and get beyond all of this drama. Because obviously they didn't have one during the special.
Right.
And you know what? Maybe you chalk that up to they didn't want to be there anyway.
Sure.
Whatever.
Sure.
But hopefully they have a plan of action so that we can get to matters that are very much important.
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk about something that's important and near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
Bourbon.
I was going to say gummies.
Yeah.
No, but bourbon. No, absolutely.
You got the Bourbon Bash coming up.
The Bourbon Bash is just a matter of weeks away. And Belle has yet to attend one of my Bourbon Bashes.
Hey, Belle,
and
I was drunk that day.
If I get us traffic to and from, if we take care of all of the ancillary details.
What day of the week is it?
It is a Saturday.
It's a Saturday.
November the 11th. It is Veterans Day.
And I can deny anybody a picture that asks for one.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. You're a grown man.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. We got a maybe though. That's better than the no.
Let me show you how this is done. Hey, Mac Morey.
Yeah, what's up?
Yo, Mac. Hey, Saturday the 11th, me, you, Bourbon, Franklin. You in?
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, we're done.
And Pamela.
And Pamela Furr.
Oh, I mean, come on, I'm in. You buried the lead.
You did bury the lead. No, but seriously speaking, so last year, well, for years, it had been held at Leapers Fort Distillery.
Great facility.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, it's just gorgeous, but we've outgrown that space.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've decided to move it indoors to the factory in Franklin.
You and I are doing our part because we're shrinking. So we're trying to fit other people in, but
it's just not enough.
We can only do so much.
And by the way, you look great.
You look great too.
Thank you. Belle, you look fantastic.
Everybody on the station, Brian Wilson shrinking.
Yeah.
Now I don't begrudge. I mean, I wouldn't wish how he did his on anybody. But he shrunk. You're shrinking. I'm shrinking. We're all shrinking.
All God's children is shrinking.
Dan Man is getting shorter
and balder.
I get in trouble. You don't get in trouble. Anyway, back to the Bourbon Bash. So we grew too much, and now but the factory, what a great location.
No, it really is. And that also gives us more access to Uber and Lyft so that you can have and taste bourbons to your heart's content. Whereas at Leapers Fort Distillery, we didn't have as much access to those kinds of ride share.
Yeah, we wanted to be responsible.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of shots to content me. It really does.
I guarantee you they'd have that many.
Well, but this is a tasting. You don't want to shoot it. You want to sip responsibly. But all joking aside, we are 3-4 weeks out. November the 11th. It is a fundraiser for an incredible military cause, the Freedom and Whiskey Foundation. And we're going to have a lot of really great bourbons there. Angel's Envy. I don't know if you've tasted Angel's Envy.
We
will have Four Roses, which is one of the fan favorites, if you will. Obviously, Leapers Fort Distillery will have whiskey there and their new bourbons. Uncle Nearest will be there this year.
Love the backstory of that bourbon.
It's really
how
great.
That came about, yeah.
And then you have Log Still Distillery, which is a brand new one out of Kentucky, and it's veteran owned, from my understanding. They're going to be there. Heaven Hill will have their brands. They're Elijah Craig. I can't remember. It's Larceny. They have several different expressions. It's just going to be a really Old Dominic from Memphis.
Did you hear what you just said, Bill? Expressions. Several expressions. That's how the bourbon.
That's the term.
That's how the bourbon snobs talk.
It has nice notes.
It does. Yes, each one has its own note. At any rate, it's going to be a lot of fun. Tim Shelton Syndicate will be the band. Ronnie Bowman will also be there with Tim Shelton Syndicate. If you know anything about bluegrass music, you know who Ronnie Bowman is. He's co-written some songs with, oh God, what is the guy's name? Chris Stapleton, I think is the guy's name.
Not familiar.
What's the hit song? Nobody to blame but me.
Are you serious?
So that Ronnie Bowman and Chris Stapleton wrote that together. Anyway, so
that's cool.
Ronnie will be there. We have a kick butt silent auction, and then the live auction.
Oh, I'm
is
a testimony.
Just incredible.
Last year I went around and drove up the price on almost every silent auction item Because
He did,
because I had a few bourbons and Erica was driving, and I'm like, whatever. And 1,200.
So,
let's do it.
y'all ended up winning something. I can't remember what it was.
Yes, I did win something.
Anyway, we had a whole flight of, oh my goodness, I can't remember the rare bourbons it was, but we ended up getting $10,000
on the
for these. No, this was the live auction for this flight of bourbon.
Oh
anyway,
no, I didn't participate in the live auction.
Yeah. You would have gotten in a lot of trouble.
I was getting thunked on the ear from behind me.
But, we have cigars available. I think you partook,
I did.
Whatever the word is. It's just a lot of fun.
Smoked.
And it is, again, for an amazing cause. We will have Special Forces guys there that you can talk to and you can meet. So that'll be cool. And the tickets are on sale. It's bourbon-tix.com, bourbon-tix.com.
I'll be there. You'll be there.
I'll be there.
Mac will be there probably.
And Belle?
Probably not.
All right.
I've heard that maybe before. You've heard it a lot longer than I've heard it.
He'll make promises and then not show up.
Yeah.
Anyway, did you enjoy
Did I promise anything?
No.
All right.
Did you? What did you like best last year?
The people.
Yeah.
They're such good people, and they all are there for the common cause of helping our veterans. Obviously, they all love bourbon, and we all have our bourbon talk and our bourbon conversation, and we talk that way about, this has a nutty note and whatever. and we can do all of that, but there's great food. That I love, because I look at a silent auction as a competition, which I should not do.
But you do.
But I do.
And we thank you for that.
Well, that's right, because, you go and then the guy is signed and then you sign beneath him and you throw it up $100 and then you come back later. You don't know who this person is, but here they are again. Who does this guy think he is?
Yeah.
And so you do that.
Right.
So, it's a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's good people. And every single one of them love the United States of America and love our veterans and understand why we have the freedoms that we do.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. So I hope to see you there. Like I said, tickets are on sale now, bourbon-tix.com. And it generally sells out. So I would say go ahead and get your tickets now while you still can. We will feed you. There's incredible food.
Is that TIX or are we talking Rocky Mountain Spotted?
It's TIX.
It's TIX.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for the clarification.
I was curious.
No, thanks for listening. She just said that. She just said that like a minute ago.
I did.
On this station?
Belle's listening to the sports station. One more time for the website, and then we got to go.
Okay, bourbon-tix.com.
There you go,
Yeah.
252. There's
Thank
the
you, Matt.
Reddited Stranger, not so much a
Bye.
stranger anymore. But bye, Pamela Furr. We're back with a preview of The Drive with Brian Wilson next.